You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
Jondo Radio.
Girl, I know you got a man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know. Girl, I know you got a man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know.
She shiver when I touch her. She moan when I clutch her. She minds when you cuss her. Stop thinking about that sucker. In public, play your brother. She dig me cause I'm gutter. No need to say I love her. She feel it when I hug her. I'm who she with when she say she working late again. Or chilling out with friends. We at the comfort in. She like to smoke a little. She like to sip some gin. She love the way I freak her like I'm fresh up out the pen. She love the way I lick her body from head to toe. Tonight she playing stripper, putting on a private show. But he keep calling, interrupting. Guess I let you go. I kiss her lips and whisper, don't nobody
But I know
have
you
to
got a
know.
man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know. Girl, I know you got a man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know. Nobody gotta know about us. About us. About us. Our little secret. Yeah. Our little secret. Yeah.
She calling every chance soon as the nigga leave. Her hands in her panties rubbing, wishing it was me. Ask her what she wearing, she say, won't you come and see? Talking dirty to me, turning me on every time she breathe. I'm chewing on the beam, she got me in that zone. She bout to make me break the rules and bring it to their home. Trying to convince me that it's cool, cause that buster gone. Just meet me at a secret spot, we already wrong. So excited when you pull up, I just spotted your car. Nothing long but a trench coat, panties and a bra. Dead sneaking, she freaking like she a porn star. Got me stealing, licking like a kid, got a beer bar. Interrupted by banging up on the room door. Her baby daddy yelling out and caught you fucking hoe. See this, I set the spot, how the hell this nigga know? Her best friend riding with him, show him where to go.
Man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know. Nobody gotta know about us. About us. About us. Our little secret. Yeah. Our little secret. Yeah.
I try to do right and get my love life together, but karma's a bitch and show up when you don't expect her. She ran the game, how her ex-husband used to neglect her. Maybe swear I would love her, respect her, protect her. Should've background checked her. Numbers I know, popping on the phone, records damn. Didn't wanna believe it. Called him Bud Bites, them was Hickens, he was leaving. Lying about him this time, claiming it wasn't me. A friend finally called and said, you know the bitch, cheating bitch, cheating. Breathe in, breathe out. Told me she'll show me, come and get her from the house. Pulled in the parking lot, erasing all doubt. She said, by the way, need the kid checked out, checked out. I can't take no more. Now I'm beating on the door. Come on out your
But I
fucking
know
hole.
you got a man, but we can keep it on the low. I got a little private hideaway we can go. Do all of the little freaky things you like for show. Can you keep a secret? Means nobody gotta know. Nobody gotta know about us. About us. About us. Our little secret. Yeah. Our little secret. Yeah.
The human brain is made for thinking, not pubic experience. It's hardly a tinker toy for experimenting. Not fuming with drugs.
Why do we talk about marijuana? It's the single biggest drug that is a source of some confusion.
This is really about educating the public about the fact that marijuana is a less harmful drug.
Marijuana, that's to get high.
You can be as high as you want.
The prohibition of marijuana over the last 71 years has not actually prevented you from using marijuana.
You feel weak.
Closer to winning the war on drugs.
I do believe there have been some successes.
We will never arrest our way out of this problem.
Out there trying to make it, woman, can't you see? Takes a lot of money to make it. Let's talk truthfully.
Welcome to the John Doe Radio Show. I am your host, John Doe, here hanging out with our good friend, Mr. Bike. Hey, Ollie. Coming at you. Today on the John Doe Radio Show, a very special guest with you. I guess I should start that. My bad, everybody.
Start what?
Special guest on the John Doe Radio Show today. Selecta Nikka T gonna be on the show with us. Thank you, Bike, for inviting Selecta Nikka T on the John Doe Radio Show.
Right on.
Should be a good time.
Better be.
It is snowing outside after a day of 75, 80-degree weather yesterday. In fact, the grass is still melting the snow off.
Yeah, it's not even really sticking to anything.
It's not sticking to the ground. The grass is just melting the snow away. It's so warm. That's Colorado for you. That's just how we do in this state. Today, Wednesday, hash day, with the man himself, Selecta Nick. Also owns a company called Essential Extracts. You may or may not be familiar with them if you're here in Colorado. We'll talk with him about how he makes hash, what it's like to be a business owner in this community and in this industry, what he feels about various things. Who knows what'll happen?
God, it's going to be interesting.
He may throw something at me today.
If he does, then it'd be great.
Why would that be great?
That's a good way to break the ice.
Work to do.
Didn't know there was ice to be broken before I made the contact.
So, did you have a good evening?
Well, I'm here today, so I didn't die. That means I have no excuse but to say I had a good evening. Yourself, what'd you do?
What did I do last night? I went and ate some chicken and some noodles and toked a little bit.
Where at?
I went over to France.
Oh, I thought you were like, when you say you went and eat, I thought you went and...
I didn't go. No, I
eat.
had dinner fixed. I had dinner fixed for me.
Wow.
It was quite special.
You must be a special guy.
I am kind of special. I'm special.
According to the fact that you had dinner made for you, it speaks volumes.
Rare Dankness just posted up this picture.
I'm looking at it right now as you said that.
I'm gonna ban you from Facebook during the show.
I'm gonna.
That's the next thing you're gonna
grind up glass and put it in your spaghetti sauce.
Why are you so mean?
Well,
why do you do things that could physically harm somebody? That's not very nice.
Because if you took Facebook away from me, I could mentally harm me.
You really are addicted to Facebook, aren't you?
Sure, whatever words that you need to say to describe me that make you feel better, I accept.
You're addicted to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have news to talk about today. The rare dankness we were going to say.
Oh, yeah.
The Redneck Dream Catcher, the pair of panties in the circular twine thing with skull bush beer hanging off of it.
Catch me a dream.
So last night, some pretty big news actually in Colorado. Make sure that we cover this. Was the first time, last night, civil unions were issued in Colorado.
What do you mean?
So at midnight last night, the city and county building, the web building of Denver, opened up, and they issued civil union certificates to couples.
Mm-hmm.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, same-sex unions, which is cool. Really, very, very cool. Congratulations,
finally,
to the good people of Colorado that have been waiting for something like that for a very, very long time. It's finally here.
Massachusetts, who just got medical marijuana this past year, was the first state.
Yep.
Over 10 years ago, I'd have to say, to allow this to happen.
You know, I honestly, I congratulate you. I give you all the great thanks that you deserve. All the great thanks.
Colorado is such an
open-minded
state, and
all the kudos you deserve. But you know what? You can have marriage.
For real, take it.
Nothing against you at all. It's just you really want it. Okay, are you sure? Are you really sure? No, that's awesome. The biggest thing to me is that same-sex couples are afforded the same rights as everybody else, because there is absolutely no difference between a relationship between a man and a woman, and a relationship between a man and a man, woman and a woman. To me, love is love.
Come to Colorado. You can get high, legally get high, and legally marry a guy if you're a guy. No big deal.
Colorado, where you can legally get high and marry.
Come to Colorado, get high and marry a guy. Yes.
And the only reason why you even joke about it a little bit is because marriage, is a little bit scary. And I don't know if I'd necessarily get something signed. I dig the idea of having a union with somebody. Having marriage or something like that. That's a great idea to submit yourself to that person and dedicate yourself to that person for life. But I also am extremely libertarian in a lot of ways. And, I don't know if this technically falls under a libertarian view, but certainly falls under the views of that I don't want government involved in my most personal relationships. I just don't want to. I don't think we need to get into
sodomy is illegal in a lot of states. Doesn't get more personal than that.
That's
it's deep involvement.
God, I hate you.
From the government.
I really hate you.
I'm just saying.
There's not been more times this week. I crack up. I crack up with you in the studio more than anybody that I've ever cracked up with. You're just ridiculous.
I know.
You piss me off at the same amount that you crack me up.
Best part about it.
It's usually the same damn time.
The best part about it is that I get to laugh at it too when I listen to it later because I don't know what I'm saying right now. Not until later.
Jeez. So that happened overnight. Fantastic news. Congratulations. Hopefully you believe that all humans should be treated equally.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, you murder someone.
Yeah.
Stabby. That's a no-no. More and more recently, I'm getting people come up to me and say, hey, I listened to the John Doe radio show. It's amazing.
Yeah, we want to find out who the person is that approached Tim yesterday. Tim didn't remember your name.
It's horrible, dude. It's horrible. So now that I'm actually
famous,
working with people, at the beginning of that, infamous. Anytime somebody comes up to me and mentions me, yeah, dude, I'm your Facebook friend. I'm like,
oh, hey, what's up?
God. I think, dear goodness, how long have they known me on Facebook?
Doe.
Because if it's for longer than a year...
If they're letting you know, they probably don't have a problem with you.
No, and that's cool. That's cool. Is that more and more people are coming up to us and saying, hey, I listened to the show. It's fantastic that you guys do that. You guys are great. People mention bike all the time. Every time something gets mentioned. They're like, with Bike Holly?
No.
People think you're funny. I just think you're a pain in the ass.
All right, well... Like I said, I posted an explanation on your wall this morning.
I'm
ready. Just read this.
You did post an explanation to the wall. Is that what you're going to do?
No, but go on.
You should go turn on the green cannabis light.
I will.
That would be really cool to have that in the background
Be right
your left shoulder. I'm just gonna leave the camera on, and we're gonna watch you to go turn it on. Okay. All right. Today there are obviously a ton of legislative processes going on today in Colorado. Where the hell did he go? It's like 2 steps to the right. Bam! Look at that. We have a green cannabis neon light in the window. That's how cool it is here at iCannabis Radio. The General Assembly, the Senate, the House, committees talking about the implementation of Cannabis Amendment 64 here in Colorado, and a lot of we read you yesterday some of the crazy rules that are being put into place and being proposed. Like, for instance, the two biggest, most ridiculous things. It's like, okay, are we Americans? Can we handle ourselves? Can we be responsible enough? This is like marijuana, not heroin that we have legalized here. It's not even porn. So, in turn, I don't know how. You suck. He's taking a hit. He's such a bastard. You see him there in the window? He's right there in the window, taking a rip. You suck! God damn. Smoke blown. Well, I sit here and try and helm this show. 15 minutes select a Nikka T will be here probably. It's not that bad snowy outside. Just people act like idiots when it snows outside. You suck, dude. What the hell was that all about?
When I turned on the light, I saw that I had like a half a gram left, so I figured I'd just...
You just smoked the rest of that? Damn!
There's a Cannabis Cup winner and a hash making winner on the way.
I didn't even bring my rig.
Well, that's what you get.
I'm smoking. Guess what I'm smoking today?
Tell me. Essential extracts?
Yeah, probably a little bit. But also, Reclaim.
Been there.
That little hitman is the shit. I'm not even kidding you, dude. It is the shit.
Because it's easy to get the claim out of it.
It's compact. When I put it the way I have it, like set in my case. I hope you choke.
Yes.
The way I have it set in my case, it sits like with the arm down, so all the claim, like kind of slides down and into the hole. So it makes for a perfect claim catch right at the bottom of the mouthpiece. And just... Although the thing is, you really can't hit claim off that nail because it's like right there. You're like hitting
it's a shallow
and the nail is
dish.
right there. So like if you were to claim it, it would be like ah, my eyes! My eyes! I can't see. I have enjoyed the shows here the past couple of months, so great job on getting into the groove of things, even though you are still a pain in the ass. I'm not going to give you 100%.
We're still on that? Thank you.
No, I'm just saying thank you for doing a great job here. In the 2 hours we're on.
Indeed.
Been good at getting guests. That's been helpful.
I mean, have you gotten it? Yes, you got K-Sass.
I've got guests.
You got...
I think it's good to have left it up to you because a lot of the guests that I have, we've had on John Doe Radio. I would have wanted to get some of the same people that we've had before, which is not saying that we're not going to get some of the same people we've had before. But it's good to have your view of things into the mix and who you think is deserved time and all that jazz. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that. But I'm running out of guests.
All right. Well, yeah, we can brainstorm. We got to have more meetings. On CannabisRadio.com, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 to 1.
Or AA meeting.
An AA meeting?
Or a meeting.
Yeah, we should have meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You should just get here earlier. I'm here at least an hour.
You've been slothing and getting here late.
Well, that's because we were in post-cup week, dude. That week was like... I came into the studio today, and I had to get here at 8 o'clock. That's what time I ride. Rolled me down, and I got out of the car, walked in here, turned on the light, and I was like, fuck that. And turned back off the light, shut the door, came over, and kicked my feet up on the chair over here.
Is this today?
Yeah, and fell asleep for another hour and a half. And then Warren comes in, and he goes... You can't fall asleep. And I'm like, why not? You're not my boss. Wait,
yeah. Huh?
Technically, on paper, he's not. Yeah. But he's sort of the guy that tells me what to do. And I don't really do anything without his say, yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you had one of your good friends... as a lawyer, he's a good guy, WarrenEdson.com. Wouldn't you listen to that guy? Especially if you're me.
I've been dreaming about things we can
I don't trust
have to ask
me.
Warren about.
I don't trust me at all. It's a fantastic situation for me. I should pay him a life retainer if I had any money.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been thinking of questions to ask him?
Oh, I just was thinking about how great that was to have him right there to answer if we could donate oil for you to get you in a skirt. But I saw a lot of potential with that.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure something out for a fundraiser. So today, obviously the more legislative situations going on in Colorado. I mentioned that while you were in the committees. There are a few things which are ridiculous. For instance, one of the first ones that we talked about yesterday, marijuana magazines would have to be behind the counters of shops if there were if people 21 and younger had access to these shops.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 21 or 18?
21.
Aren't you an adult at 18?
Yeah, why can't you drink, though?
I do disagree with the 21 drinking age. I think that if we had, I think that a 2-year difference in drinking between 18 and 21, which is a pretty big 2 years of learning period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where I'm basing this from is take Paris and other countries that allow drinking at a younger age and make it less taboo. There's less situations with binge drinking. I think that could possibly help if we lowered the drinking age. Plus,
can't binge smoke.
My ultimate trump card is with that situation is if you can fire a gun at somebody for this country, you should be allowed to have a beer. You should be allowed to toke. God. I wonder if Warren's listening. Sounds like he's listening.
Can they listen
he
out
came
there?
around the corner and gave the eye like, yeah. Maybe he's just, I don't know. Hi, my name is Norm. I love this jacket. It's so warm, dude. It's
hot in here.
It is one of the, I know it is kind of hot in here. But this morning it's snowing outside, and I was like, damn, I didn't bring my long johns. I didn't wear my hoodlum. I gotta go work next door. Luckily, I have this damn thing, though. So thanks to handmadeapparel.biz. Adam Hand over there. Handmadeapparel.biz. If you need any gear, not just JDR gear, but you need gear made for yourself in any form, really. Except for hats. I don't think he really does hats.
No, you mentioned that's a special item.
These were very special. Uh-oh. Dang it! I knew I was going to tick him off somehow and get him in here.
Craig said you guys were talking.
What?
So what's up, huh? What? Other than the fact that I hope people don't think that
Hold on,
when you act like a dumbass, it's because I'm telling you to.
What? No, what?
Nothing.
That's... Okay. That was of recent times that I acted like a dumbass, and then I got smart and started to take people's advice. No, we were just saying that it's nice to be where we're at.
Okay.
Giving 100 compliments of being able to, discuss things with the lawyer. And I said, hey, I really don't do anything without talking to Warren first.
Well, that we heard anyway. No, there's endless stupid stuff in 1317.
Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, because I thought that's what you guys were talking about. Like,
oh,
no magazines.
We were going on about
but
that.
In MMCs.
I thought Greg was ratting on me though, because we were talking about.
Oh no, the show's blaring in the lobby.
Oh, great.
I also heard a rumor that it might be playing in Pink House Cherry this morning. What's up, Charles?
What up?
People listening in for our guests coming up.
So we were talking about 1317. So the Playboy behind the counter. We all know that. When we were kids growing up, we were like, oh, man, I'm not going to get it from this counter, but my uncle's got one under his bed. No, I'm kidding. But that's kind of how...
Yeah, taking the stuff out of 7-Eleven, out of Tattered Cover, out of Barnes & Noble. I mean, that'll devastate the marijuana magazine industry.
It will.
And I can't imagine, because, we're obviously familiar with, Chronic and Nug Life and THC and all the others.
Nuggetry, this new one that's kind of hit. I think it's came to Colorado. It's been something.
Is it from the Nuggetry TV people?
Yeah, in California they got Nuggetry. He has the dispensary, and then does that Nuggetry kind of like the Token Daily thing.
Well, it should catch their attention, and you'd think folks would be in there trying to do some last-minute lobbying to yank that sucker out, because
they would all have to be behind the counter if you had it at a 7-Eleven or any place like that. And that's what I told you yesterday, Bike, is like, this is my biggest worry. My biggest worry is that these people are going to be harmed. I mean, they're having a hard enough time. The print industry is having a hard enough time.
It's bad for the industry and the print industry. It's bad for the MMJ industry. It's bad for the consumer because there's less of a chance to see new products and see options and read articles and all that. And come on, I mean, there's beer brewing and liquor distilling magazines left and right.
Yeah.
All a variation of a theme, and
that's what he
those
said.
Aren't behind the counter.
Yesterday,
well, heck, great rates for beer brewing magazines. I mean, it's ludicrous, but it got slipped in there. I mean, that and no snacks in MMCs,
and that's the other one that I was going to mention today too, is that you can't have non-medicated foods available for free, giving out to your patients. I don't even think that you can. Can you have? Is it non-medicated foods even available for sale?
No. It's
you have to sell.
Well, see, it's aimed at sale of food and non-marijuana products to keep the stores from selling non-marijuana products and taking away sales from other businesses. But they had to expand it to giving it away as well, so that it doesn't become a variation of theme. But it's just ludicrous. I mean, whether it's because they think that they'll be slipping in edibles or something, or it's sanitation, or it's taking away. I mean, I can't figure out a real reason for doing that. And when you go, the fact that you can go to Jiffy Lube and there's cookies and coffee on the counter, kind of gets rid of the sanitation argument.
Doesn't, I mean, that's horrible. They're trying to hit stoners right in the gut. That's like, ugh, I can't go into a dispensary and get my cookie.
No more hanging out in the drug den, huh? Next they'll outlaw like video games and TVs.
And talking.
Your wife.
The 7 words you can say when you go in.
Yes.
Your wife over at MMD Colorado is nice enough sometimes to bring in snacks. Like on
all these places do. I mean, how many times do we see cookouts at all the places? I mean,
yeah. Well, it strikes me as like extra super nice because Georgia is familiar with the stoner culture. Georgia understands, even though she's not a toker. Like she's just that's the type of. I mean, that to me is the reach out and shake somebody's hand and. She works in the dispensary. She is the type of person that exemplifies what's going to legalize cannabis across the nation and what the future looks like. I mean, people in this industry don't necessarily have to toke. You don't have to use marijuana all the time. You can be a responsible adult, own a company, manage a company, and I mean, it's those little gestures. Well, even like, that bringing in food for stoners.
But like I said, but it's also just good business. I mean, it's regular business.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, again, you go in Jiffy Lube, there's cookies and crappy coffee.
But that's not taking
You go in Shane Company
Jewelers,
Jewelers, and what is there? Nice cookies and fancy coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and for some reason, they don't want us to have fun stuff. So
I mean, exactly. It's good business. It caters to us. I think that's great. I mean, it's great. And if I haven't made it clear over the past week and a half, I love good customer service. I love it. When you walk into a place,
bad customer service. But.
I like to point it out. I'm good at pointing it out.
Look, it's the only place I can think is was that Dick's Restaurant or whatever, where they were intentionally rude to you. I mean, that was the only place I've been where it's like intentionally bad service.
Really?
Grumpy Dick's, wasn't that, or whatever it was?
And it was a place. It was a chain. They were like
if you look it up online,
be mean to you.
Yeah, and
awesome,
the staff was intentionally rude.
You would be great at that place, dude. Bike, you would kill it.
Go after yourself, Tim.
He posted up on my timeline today the definition of a masshole.
Yes.
He's like, maybe this will help you.
Common knowledge.
Well, this was a good one.
He's just always trying to inform me because he sees the frustration in my eyes daily.
You can't deal with it.
What are some other things that you're worried about? The drug-endangered children looks like it got clarified a little bit more. You have to show abuse, and they eliminated legal marijuana use out of it.
And it's mere presence, which is the one that I'd been dying to have happen. Because before that, it just said Schedule I drug. And so now, but again... it can all change, so I'll remind everybody of that. Focusing on more on 1317, I think one of the things that folks are missing that hopefully gets changed is the cap of 100 nanograms on edibles.
See, that's what I was trying to get. That's exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because yesterday I wasn't for sure. I didn't understand that paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's 10 nanograms per serving size with a maximum total level of 100.
So you only have 100 milligram. Like that eliminates even any
nanogram
effectiveness.
is not a milligram.
Sorry, nanograms is what I should have been saying.
Nanograms or milligrams?
Nanograms.
I don't know how you measure edibles in nanograms. I mean, how many milligrams is that?
Pull the thing up, because that's what it's the same that's in the because it not you're right. It must
it's
nanograms per milligram. We can't hear Nick.
Oh, sorry, Nick. Nick,
it would be nice
Nikka
if
T
you
in the house.
introduced
That whole bwop bwop that I gave out there. That's my way of kindly saying welcome, Nick. Because
it's 10 with a cap of 100.
What's scary about that to me, to be honest, is, I mean, I've got a cancer patient that needs 200 milligrams per dose every dose, and he takes 2 of these doses per day, you know, and this is a younger cancer patient, and he's worked up to this dosage, you know, and this is what his body needs.
Well, and the kind of silly part is, so that now he has to buy like 10 100 milligrams as opposed to 4 250 milligrams or whatever, because it's not like you can't just eat more of it.
Yeah. And this is somebody who...
That would cost more money probably, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
When it's just silly to cap it like that. I mean, and certainly it'll be bad for the consumer, because I mean, you know, how many people? And I wonder how will that affect like the pills and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a horrible idea, man. I didn't think that they would even attempt to do anything like this.
They talked about it throughout the discussion and the sessions and the panel meetings, and
I never thought it would come serious down to a limit of anything. I thought that they got rid of the idea of limits, and they knew that was a bad idea, which sucks. I mean, that's horrible. Edibles are really hard for me to use anyway, because I have to have a really high dose for it to work. You know, I'll take one of those big old activated horse pills of oil, and I mean, that's when I can feel it. You know, 100 milligrams is not going to do a lot of medicinal effect. And here's the deal, is like we're thinking in terms of like being high also too. It's not just being high. You're not just getting THC with these edibles. I mean, what if this edible is extremely high in CBD or so, you know, a year or 2 years down the line, we find something else in cannabis that we can extract and put into something. I mean,
I'm sure they'll keep changing.
I mean, that's what's
they have our weed, or you know, our medical weed rolls. So
that's what's frustrating, is because, and we mentioned this, when you eat edibles and you don't feel high, it's not that you're necessarily not getting any benefit from it.
Sure,
it's just
more of a subtle effect. So,
we didn't even get into all the weird advertising aspect of it, whether it's pop-up ads on websites or, you know, there's a bunch of stuff that's not going to be allowed. Direct marketing. The phone stuff, texting, text advertising, just an array of different advertising will be cut.
And that's one thing that I want to talk to Nick about here in a little while, is, you know, what it's like to have been a business owner, you know, from the bottom to where that you're at right now, you know, and how these rules have affected you, you know, and how hard it is to maybe follow some of these rules. And even if you do follow, I mean, you follow the rules, but if you do keep up on the rules as they're going right now, or you just kind of say, hey, once they're finalized, I'll go with it. Because, I mean, it's so overwhelming as a business owner to do anything in this industry as it is. And second, to try and keep up with the changing rules that are happening right now. I mean, I'd almost be like, you know what, when they're finalized, I'll sit down, I'll go over it with my lawyer.
But the problem is, then you don't get to change them during the rulemaking process.
You are right. That's.
And it's so weird, because there's been so few times, if any time in U.S. history, where we're regulating an industry that's already in existence.
Yeah, you are right. That is kind of a pretty ignorant thing to say.
Well, but I don't know why more people aren't. They're just like, oh my God, fuck this. You know, we're on year 3, 4, whatever the heck it is.
It's hard.
Endless changes. It's expensive.
As a legal business, if you actually follow every single one of these regulations to a T, you're broke like I am right now. I mean, seriously.
And adding more shit on it. It's
not quick money like back in the day, you know? Nope. It's not like it used to be.
Hopefully, though, here, I mean, if they do it right, though, and people are... I love that. See, that's where you just stop.
Confidence.
That's where you just stop and you're like,
at this point, I just want them to fuck it all up and not pass anything and dump it to the Department of Revenue, because I have little faith in our legislature.
If it didn't even have, that would be pretty awesome, though.
In Laura, I trust.
You would be able to, dude. There'd be places you'd be able to set up shop, and it would be like ka-ching.
If locals were allowed to make up rules for it?
Well, see,
the revenue streams,
if this doesn't
tax revenue.
But see, if this doesn't
goodness.
pass through the legislature, Laura Harris and Med in the Department of Revenue still have until July 1st to pass the rules.
Okay.
Okay. So there's still a couple months here. And Laura has this thing called the medical marijuana rules. And rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, Laura could just take, the stuff she likes out of that and say, okay, I'm going to cut and paste. And maybe that's what should have been done last December and January, but no. So, there'll still be that, because I don't think, particularly after the weirdness of them state losing some of the power over the casino regulations back in the day, they do not want to have that happen again.
Yeah.
And so there's no way DOR doesn't have rules sitting there that they're going to just, if the legislature punts this, just bang.
Weed just scares the crap out of them, too, so...
Well,
gambling did at the same time. I mean, I can think back to when we implemented gambling in the state, and that was a situation to where people were really, really scared and worried about this state being, overrun with massive casinos and becoming Las Vegas-like or Atlantic City, and it was done pretty well.
What happened with $100 max bets? But I have a quick question.
Well, it took a while for. Remember that too?
$5
$5
maximum
limits.
bet.
I was up there
and there
for
was
that.
no other. There wasn't craps. There wasn't poker. There wasn't. Oh my God.
And they raised it.
The grandmothers loved it.
If the argument I'm trying to, it's just in my head all the time. If they're going to say regulate like marijuana, if you say, well, that's not
like alcohol.
If they say, if you call them out on it, they're just going to say, well, marijuana is not federally regulated every time.
In terms of which aspect of the discussion?
Oh, okay. Well, you can have wine tastings at liquor stores.
You can, but that just is new as of last year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't happen until last year, maybe the year before. Because we actually, like when I moved here in 1991, we still had pop shops. And so, if you were 19 to 21, you could drink beer, but it had to be 3.2. And it had to be sold in a bar that only sold 3.2 products.
Wow.
So like down by the Pepsi Center and down here in Glendale on Virginia Boulevard or Virginia Street, whatever the hell it is, were all these what they called pop shops where the kids would go drink bad beer.
That must have blown your mind at first, coming from the East Coast.
Well,
what?
we just got rid of our blue laws, man. You couldn't be open on Sunday until a couple years ago.
Right.
At the same time, we still can't sell real beer or alcohol in grocery stores.
They're trying to get rid of that. I see a campaign in 7-Eleven right now.
Every
Save our
year,
beer.
yep. Safeway had those signs up as well. So it's taken like almost 100 years for our alcohol rules. Well, 80 years, I guess, to start to come in line with something arguably more sensible. But
they haven't changed too much over the years. It's all 21 everywhere across the board now.
Yeah, because mainly you lose your federal highway funds if you screw with that. The thing here that's made the biggest difference with booze in Colorado has been the tweaking of the liquor laws to allow tasting rooms, because that's why we've seen such a huge burst of microbreweries and distilleries, because they can now do that thing where they brew or distill on site and only sell their own product in that third lobby or whatever, and while it looks like a bar, it's allegedly a tasting room. Whether that's great places all around town: Pross Brewing, Renegade, Denver Beer Company, our friends at Mile High Spirits. All over the place.
So here's the deal: obviously, cannabis is safer than marijuana, and even when they read off the traffic accidents and issues that they did under the DUID.
Wait, what? Cannabis is safer than marijuana? You mean?
I'm glad you caught that. See,
it doesn't make you say
I always
different
do
things.
that. I always do that. Cannabis is safer than
more
alcohol.
pre-show dabs are recommended.
I know that's what needed to happen.
But
booze has obviously way harsher numbers. The numbers are ridiculous. The deaths, all that. So, how can you be worried about cannabis and on-site consumption, and not allow consumption, but allow this harmful, fatal situation in people's minds to happen? If you're going to think that people are going to go to a dispensary, smoke, leave, kill somebody, then obviously somebody that's not even a patient, just recreationally going to a liquor store, drinking, leaving, I would think this is worse. That, there's going to be 10 million more deaths.
Look at who we're dealing with. That there was just a study last month that said that alcohol is the leading preventable cause of cancer in America.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people have thought about quitting drinking. You're talking about how much alcohol his rate slowed down of consumption since then. People don't. I don't know.
Well, as we talked about before, I mean, it's average Joe's irrational fear.
I know, it's irrational
of the intoxicated marijuana driver.
We just have to get to that point to where it's not irrational.
They're swilling in.
Well, unfortunately, if this DUID piece of shit passes, they'll get their magic number of 5.
Yeah.
And the only good part about that will be that fact. Okay, you can now arrest people with this stupid number. So what's your fear of these clubs? Their other fear is insurance. But I think we're past that point, and there are actually places that will insure these clubs.
Oh. Interesting times,
It is.
man.
I'll
Anything
get out
else?
of here and let you guys actually have fun rather than me just sit here and
No,
bitch about the
dude.
rules.
Actually, dude, you have no idea actually how much.
And it'll all change tomorrow.
My favorite time, a lot of the time, is sitting down and talking with you because it informs me, and then people ask me outside of here,
It's funny how many
things about
people do
rules and
ask.
stuff, and they're like confident
I
in
know.
asking us because we have been informed by you.
May 13th. Nobody's talking about May 13th, Denver City Council meeting. That's when they will vote on Amendment 64 and how to adopt it, including whether or not they're going to adopt smoking clubs and such. That's a week from next Monday, folks. And yeah, lost in all the 420 rhetoric and the 1317, 1318 legislative bullshit is the fact that Denver can pass a lot of this stuff or not themselves.
Yeah.
And I think most of your listeners are aware that the alleged compromise by the city would be to allow 64 retail stores and grows to go in place, but not allow smoking venues. We'll see.
Yeah. Just because they think that it's working right now without having smoking on site.
Because our mayor's
he's also
king of ignorance, and
he's also a big anti-drug person.
he hates those MMDs.
He hates just
Keep those MMDs out of his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And somebody needed to tell him.
He's had a history of drug abuse in his family, and he doesn't want to see others fall to it.
Holding marijuana addicted babies in
Yeah.
his arms.
I've held marijuana addicted babies
in my arms.
That's our mayor, dude. The mayor of Denver.
Oh yeah, on TV during a city council meeting when he was city council president. I think it was January 2010, but it might have been 2009 when he had this big, and he cried.
He was
He cried.
I won't say he was such a not
comedy.
nice guy during these city council hearings and meetings too. He would constantly walk out. He was constantly on his cell phone. He never paid attention, in my opinion. And that is my opinion as a reporter, not as just someone that doesn't like him.
The mere fact that he gave a 4-minute, 10-minute, whatever it was, lecture to the city council a couple weeks ago about MMDs as opposed to MMCs
Yeah, MMDs.
betrays his ignorance.
Hey,
And it
that's
wasn't
okay.
just once. I think we were up to 27 times when we stopped counting. But
Thank you, Warren. Warren Edson from
Have a good time.
WarrenEdson.com. WarrenEdson.com. Edson Main and Mats if you need criminal defense or cannabis. I'm just going to say cannabis.
Yeah.
Consultation.
More family law stuff.
Family law, anything
We
like
make
that.
Chris do that.
Make sure. Yeah, Chris is great with family law. Make
Cannabis
sure-
or marijuana law.
Yeah. Nick, if you want to move over to this mic over here, that mic's a great mic. A little bit more or less in the corner there, buddy.
More or less in the corner.
A little bit more. I don't know what I'm doing today.
I know, just words misfired.
Just
It's
words are going off and I'm not even noticing. It's awesome. Also, big thanks to our other sponsors here on the John Doe Radio Show, the people that make this show possible daily. Huge thanks to Element 420, ElementFour20.com. Their CO2 oil is fantastic. Now, you may have had CO2 oil before that doesn't taste very good. It's not just
Pepperoni or feet
it
tasting.
may not be what you like, but this CO2 oil is great. Now, it still does have that little bit of that sizzle to it, which, I mean, if you can't handle that, then I guess you just shouldn't smoke something that's good here with CO2. It's weird of me to say that, but I know that it's a good product. I enjoy the high. I mean, I don't know how Nick. We'll talk with Nick maybe how he feels about some of the extracts that are out today. But honestly, it's the only CO2 extract that I've run across that I would smoke. And hopefully you check it out. 82 South Federal Boulevard. Alex and the guys over there are fantastic. Customer service is great. Also, make sure you check out Compassionate Pain Management, CompassionatePM.com. CompassionatePM.com, a holistic wellness center that's working for you. That's how we do. Select a Nikka T on the show. Pwah, pwah, pwah.
Yo,
I can't do it that
for
right
real though.
sometimes.
If Warren wasn't in here and you guys weren't talking about regulations, I was thinking about just coming in here, grabbing your head, and just.
Should have anyways.
I'm just kidding. But I was gonna probably slap a skirt on you and throw you out into the street.
I know.
You get some hash
That's
to
what
kick
they're
in. We got to get them do it.
That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do to me, and eventually it's going to end up me being here doing it for absolutely free for charity.
Free for charity? It means you're doing something for charity. That's a big man of you. Exactly.
Yeah, that is. We got to figure out more stuff to do for charity. That's what radio stations do. That's what the community does for love.
Yo, I got a lot of good organizations that I work with. If you need any links, I know where to send the money.
I don't know if I want any suggestions from anybody else anymore. Okay, it's quite scary. Nikka T from Essential Extracts here. You got your cup this past couple weeks here at the High Times Cannabis Cup, and you won for.
We won for our Flow G solventless wax.
Nice.
So yeah, we're super stoked to finally have a cup. We did win first place last year, but we didn't get a cup. So this is really nice to
That's
actually have
how come you didn't get a cup last year?
Real cup this year.
That's what I was confused on because I was like, wait.
I'm still a little confused as to why I didn't get a cup last year. I think it's because it was such a new category, and in reality, I think Essential Extracts helped create the non-solvent category.
I even thought I heard the guy say solventless when he announced it.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of that.
Oh, okay. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how to really play that one yet. I'm just letting people run.
Well, you kind of like pioneered
I can't
that
really do
part of it
anymore. If I really wanted to send letters, I'd be sending letters to like 1 million people online right now. It'd be ridiculous. So I'm just gonna let them run with it.
Yeah.
You did get a pretty big, what is it called? I guess a highlight in High Times, though. A nice article there that showcased all your doings, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, actually.
I mean,
We've been getting
huge.
a lot of love and respect from a lot of magazines and different media avenues, basically. I think this week alone we're published, or myself, I'm published in probably about 5 or 6 different magazines that were released this week, which is kind of crazy.
You're just saying you're in this...
yeah, I don't know if it's that
Nuggetry?
exact issue, but one of the writers for Nuggetry just hailed me up yesterday saying it was just released in stores yesterday, the new Nuggetry magazine. And I think there's an article with myself, Banff, and maybe even Matt Rise in there, kind of...
all in the same...
all in the same article. Yeah,
I didn't think you would be the one to mention Matt Rise.
You know.
Why not?
So
we were just involved in an article together.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Lots of...
They're not making a hash together yet.
I don't know if that'll ever happen. We'll see if that day comes. If that day comes...
It was going to happen, and, you know, certain circumstances have prevented that from happening.
When that day comes, then I will be fully invested into the idea that world peace can happen. it can and will happen when that day comes along. So, no, but where was I going to go with everything? You yourself have been doing this and started up around the time... I mean, you've been doing hash for quite a long time, but your business, Essential Extracts, and what you've been doing, you know, we were lucky enough to highlight some of your early work here on the John Doe Radio Show. Is some of our most listened to episodes.
You always say that. You always say who's the Nick's episode is the most watched.
Nick and let's see, Adam Dunn.
How about
2 of the most probably popular people that we've had here?
How did you guys meet?
Besides Governor Gary Johnson.
When did you guys meet?
Actually, well, I was working up at Treeline Premier Dispensary when I first moved back out here about 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, probably almost 5 years ago now.
Up in Vail?
Yeah, up in Vail, Colorado. And at this time, you know, our movement hadn't really taken off yet. You know, some of the very first dispensaries were open. I think at that time there were probably only about 20 centers, you know, when I was moved back out here to Colorado. And at that time, there wasn't a lot going on as far as media and marketing and stuff online. But one of the very few things that was going on was the John Doe Radio, and it was something that we could pop into work, you know, and, you know, as soon as we got into work, we were able to turn on a live radio program that was talking about our industry, which was kind of nice. And that's how I think I first was introduced to Tim Martin over here. And so I think I probably hailed him up via email or something saying, hey, we've got a dispensary in Vail. I'd love to do some things. And
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you contacted me or if we just had heard something about your hash making. There's something that connected the hash making and the process that you were doing. And then I was like, this dude sits in a freezer all day, or I mean, this is insane. Like, I mean, it was just the whole process it fascinated me, because I had done bubble bags a couple times, and I'm like, geez, this is a pain in the ass, man. This really takes some work to get done. And the process at the time, you know, whether or not how many people were doing it or who was doing it at the time, I mean, you made it the big process, you know. We helped you get that name out. Paul Token at Token Daily, you know, was another big person to help you get your work out a lot. And I mean, the pictures of your work alone exploded across the internet. And I mean, word of mouth spread that, you know what, you don't have to have hash that's this black, gooey, nasty hash, that you can actually, you know, get a hold of this hash, learn how to make it. He's being pretty open about explaining how to make it. Somebody took the interview that we had with you, put it on YouTube in a video, and explained how to do it, dude. I mean, it's like, you know, so people really at the time were very, very interested in the process that you were doing hash and the product that you were getting out of it. You and, you know, and a few other people. At the time, I didn't know of anybody else who was doing it the way you were doing it. So, I mean, and now it's like you had mentioned Matt Rise. I think the 3 best hash makers that I have personally met and got to smoke their product from is yourself. Your water hash is great. One of the first great water hashes that I got to smoke. Derek makes fantastic water hash. How did they two end up under the pink house?
Because we're running things.
Exactly. And also, I tried Matt Rice's stuff, and both the BHO and his ice wax. Is that?
Ice wax. Yeah, that's how you say it, Tim.
Ice wax.
Yes.
He makes amazing products.
Is that how you
it's
say
amazing
it?
product. But
he just needs to work on his mouth.
But just like with me sometimes, where I've had to sort of, you know, work on my, situations where I've got myself in trouble here over the past year in the community. You know,
you're working on your mouth.
Me and Matt Rise have got into it before. You know, me and you have got into it before. I can't exactly remember.
Actually, I still want to throw some jabs. I think one of the reasons that you guys are popular over here is because of me. I don't think it's the other way around. I'm going to keep jabbing all day today.
Ow. I kind of did give you a little bit of kudos there. That is one of the most, you know, listened to episodes that we've had here on the John Doe Radio Show. We've had a lot of fantastic guests, man, and I mean it's been appreciative to have you.
You're welcome.
Another reason could be though that we No, I'm not gonna.
I thought you were talking to me.
No, I'm talking to both. I'm talking to Nick
to
over
us.
here. I'm trying to be respectful to Nick. I don't think I was.
Is the air clear here? Is there anything you guys just want to butt heads, like stand up, smash heads?
That's
and
what, you invited Nick on. Nick's fully open to have an open
but
mic.
Here's
here.
the deal. I saw a picture of the two of you guys smiling, arms around each other at the cup from like a week and a half ago. I had no idea there was anything until when I asked Nick. He said, "Oh shit, what am I going to say to Tim Martin?"
Well, I guess to give some more backstory of the
I don't hold
situation for
grudges,
people that.
No, right.
Well, I think there was a situation where me and Nick both had back and forth. I think one of the original things that I maybe had an issue with Nick about was just I felt that Nick was being, you know, maybe a little cold shoulder to us, and maybe we had given us a little bit more credit than what we deserved for Nick's product and getting it out there. So that might have led to some feelings of me being, you know what, I deserve this, and it fell in along lines with, you know, me feeling like I deserved to be in a bigger spot or a better spot in this industry, which then led to me having sort of this self-destruction, which led to a lot of other bullshit during that time that I've apologized profusely to a lot of people for, and it really did make a pretty big idiot out of myself, which we've slowly eased into and talked about here on the show quite a bit, because I mean, why not talk about, you know, the abuse of you know, substances and shit like that? You know, we've been open with it, and there was some time that I think that during there, it was like maybe that there was some crosstalk. I think I had heard something about that you had heard that I asked you for a job or something, and Nick couldn't give me a job, so then I was incredibly pissed off about him or something, and I was like,
"You didn't ask me for a job."
Okay, that's just something I had heard at some point in time. But me and Nick at some point in time had
if people want a job with me, they got to come to me, yo. I got too many things on my plate. If it's something that's
I think that's
in
what
the air,
I think that's what the case
was.
was.
I'm not going to hear about it right now.
Did you go to someone else and ask someone else for a job from Nick?
No, I don't think that's what the case was at all. I mean, to be honest with you, during this whole 6 month, however many, I don't even know how long it was. I'm not going to take credit for anything during that time. I'll just apologize for it and say it was ridiculous. So, but I mean, if there's anything else that you were ticked off at me about, then
nah, bro, man, the air is clear. I don't hold grudges.
I just want to know what exactly made.
If I'm hanging out with you right now, I don't even remember what happened exactly.
I know that's why I'm
you pissed me the fuck
that's
off
why I'm
off.
nervous right now, semi-nervous because I'm
here,
I'm like I don't have a yeah. You can swear. Shiz and fark is my way of saying swearing stuff. Yeah. That's why I'm decently interested in the conversation right now and nervous and slightly like
that was my
needing
goal.
to take off my coat
right on the edge of your seat.
Because I was like, I wonder exactly what if I did say anything specifically to it, and he remembers it, and he's coming in and
just gonna blast you on air. No, I don't remember anything. I smoke too much hash.
But that's why I'm comfortable with my own show and during that time making amends. People don't want to hear.
You're not making too much eye contact with him.
I don't ever make too much eye contact with anybody, dude.
Sometimes you do.
I cannot do a radio show and talk to you straight in the eye.
I'm just being observational, and that's just what I noticed. I'm not hating on you for it. It's no big deal.
I'm gonna turn to Nick right here. I'm gonna stare at him. Right, me and Nick are gonna give each other.
You're not gonna overdo it.
Hey.
No, you're looking like.
I like that sexy eye though. I want to give you the sexy eye.
No, please don't.
All right. Enough of that craziness then. No, I'm very proud of you, Nick, of building the business that you've built in this industry and protecting your business, protecting your name. I think that's important for any company to do. It hasn't been easy for any company to be in this industry to pay.
That's the hardest part right now. I swear, because I consider myself a nice guy.
The hardest part
is normal person.
Protecting your name is what you're saying?
Yeah, because in reality, I've marketed this, I've branded this, I've trademarked it. I've trademarked solventless, I've trademarked solventless wax, I've trademarked essential extracts. And I did that because we're in a real business here.
Yeah.
This is a real industry here in Colorado compared to a lot of other states like California where I couldn't brand my name like I did out here. And so in reality, it's been hard for me because it's what I've had to do as running a real business here in Colorado. But I don't like being the asshole going up to people saying, hey, please don't use this word. Please don't use this word. Because in reality, I want everybody to use the words, but I'm really just trying to protect what I've built here in Colorado. This is a real business, and I've marketed a lot of it. I've taken a lot of my own time and energy into, putting this name out there and trying to actually, in reality, I was going to mention this earlier, we've had to rise above BHO. Water hash took a second seat to BHO about 5-6 years ago, and we've had to do something to bring that product back to market. In reality, it's what I prefer to smoke. I think it's what Bike prefers to smoke. Water hash. It's just it's what I want to smoke, and so that's what I've been pushing. And to do so, I couldn't sell my product as bubble hash, especially because it didn't look like the standard bubble hash people were used to seeing. And so we had to market it a little bit differently to be able to remain in this industry here in Colorado.
And I'm not going to argue with that thinking at all. Some people may say that that's not the way to do it in our industry, and that's it
was the only way to do it here.
Greedy
in Colorado.
or whatever, and that's and I'm not. I don't go with that at all, because you're not the only one that's trying to succeed here. There's businesses. We want to talk about people that have marketed and put out a specific product. Element 420. We just, I talk about their CO2 product like a separate CO2 product from everything else, because in my opinion, it's a higher quality product. Pink House as a whole, as a dispensary, has branded their name. Big Pink. Their marijuana leaf, their version of the marijuana leaf, which is the pink lines in the marijuana leaf formation.
Steel leaf or something.
These are big things. These are big names that someday are going to make millions and millions, if not billions of dollars, as leaders in this industry. And to protect that name, I understand that. I really do. I'm not talking about all the nitpicky little things that people get into in the businesses. Millions. Well, you know what I'm saying.
I don't know. Do they yet?
According to Elliot article in the Wall Street Journal, they do. Yeah.
$3 million a year. That's what the Wall Street Journal says. But that brand names are worth a ton, and excluding all the nitpicky, small, behind the scenes things that go on, the shiz talking and all that. This is a business, and to protect your name, obviously comes first. If somebody tried to steal John Doe Radio, the name, that would piss me off. That would scare the shiz out of me. I would try and distance myself as much as I could. Paul for Marijuana Radio, that was one thing he constantly did was, try to protect, as much as he could, having that marijuana radio, out there. So, I mean, luckily I didn't ever have to deal with that because we didn't have marijuana in our name ever.
But it's tough right now, because I think right now where I'm at is I'm kind of over caring about other people using the name. In reality, I think I've done my duty. I wanted to spread this form of hash, and I think I've done that. With 90% of the entries entered in the Cannabis Cup being labeled as solventless. With High Times themselves calling their category solventless, as Bike was just mentioning. I think I've made it. I think I've done my duty. And I think in that, I don't care if people use the term solventless anymore and things like that. I mean, it still irks me a little bit, but at this point, with millions of people using it, there's nothing really I can do anymore.
I mean, it's a term. It's definitely a term. I think you can
I think the toughest part is, other states I'm not really as worried about as my own state here in Colorado, because in reality, I've worked so hard at building the name here to distinguish my product as different than anybody else's, and so when 150 other dispensaries are calling their product solventless, yet they're not using the same method as us or the same process and things like that. Their product looks 100% different. It's confusing patients, and that's really the only concern that I have as far as people using, the terms that I've helped hype.
I mean, that's fair.
And I'm not even going to say I created any terms. I've helped coin them for our process. I've built hype around them, basically.
I'll go with that. The same with the Ice Wax situation with Matt Rice. I'd argue the same situation with him in that he's been the same way with his term. So
I pushed that for him.
I've
helped him create that name for himself.
I also think that Matt's made a name for himself too.
Of course, he has. He's done a killer job at being an asshole and grabbing attention. There's no doubt about that.
More than anything, you're both associated with these names. Matt with Ice Wax and you with Solventless.
By the way, I've invited Matt on the show before, so Matt's invited to come on at any time. I just don't want to sit here and say that he's not allowed to come on, and we're gonna, talk about him.
Sure. I forget what I was saying here, but as far as, I can understand the frustration. I couldn't imagine the frustration because I've never put a product out there with having a name association and have other people using it, but at
the same time, you got to think of that.
The point it's at, it's just like it's a monster that's just created. It's just going to keep going. You really don't have control of it, and neither does Matt, who uses Ice Wax and who uses that name. And the fact that you guys are associated with it.
In reality, too, I give mad respect to Matt because it helps my product. The more solventless, the more non-solvent products, whether we're calling it Ice Wax or solventless wax or solvent-free wax or non-solvent wax,
I'm just glad
I'm happy that they're out there.
I'm glad that people are making good products.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's helping my industry. It's helping my company just to compete with, the BHO. We're just trying to get more trim for water hash right now.
There's too much BHO. I would
There's
smoke.
not too much BHO.
I would smoke more water hash if it was around more. That I could,
And I feel like I've been working on bringing water hash around more for the last 10 years, and I'm still, every single day, that's like my main focus is just to bring more quality, bring more variety, bring more water hash to market. And I was just talking to Bike about, somebody new that I'm trying to work with because we're trying to bring different styles of hash, different, import styles, not necessarily import hash because we're always going to try and be 100% legal here in the state of Colorado, but import styles, is the new thing that we're working on. Did you see any
results from
you were talking
that little test?
You were talking about dry sift online, I think, at one point.
Yeah, we're working on all of it right now. I've got a bunch of new dry sift screens that are in the mail right now. I'm charging forward with the whole non-solvent theme.
I can't wait.
We've got dry sift coming. We've got pressed hash coming. We've got temple balls. We've got Moroccan style. We've got Afghan style. Yeah.
Temple ball to me, and what I've always learned was there was a piece of opium in it. It was opiated hash.
The temple balls that I'm familiar with today don't. I'm sure there were temple balls, back in the day that were opiated. myself, when I was in India and, when I've traveled around a lot and seen, some of these different forms of hash, the temple balls that I smoked in India personally, that came down from Nepal, didn't have opium in them.
Huh.
They were a lot higher quality than the charas that I was used to smoking in India, and that's for sure.
So with hash here in Colorado, I mean, we saw a huge change in hash when the dispensaries started opening up. I mean, there was like all of a sudden when solventless hash, the cold water hash started coming out, it changed the game. It completely changed the game. What was it? I mean, what was it like at the beginning? Going through the licensing process. I mean, having to come up with the money, trying to find a grow. Because here's the difference: with BHO, people have to have a MIPS license. With making water hash, you just have to have an OPC license, just a grow license, and you can do the water hash making there on the grow premises. And there's different rules between making BHO or licensing rules between making BHO and water hash. So I mean,
what was gray areas there as well?
There are.
I think we're also able to process in an OPC as well as a MIP.
Why wouldn't you be able to process in a MIPS? Probably that would make sense. But during that time, I mean, what was it like? Where were you running from? I mean, what were you doing your runs in, and who were you doing it with? I mean, not necessarily details exactly of what, but was it hard to find somebody to team up with? And then how did you build from there?
Well, I mean, for the first, over 3 years of processing, before we became actually, licensed as essential extracts, we were still processing under the laws that were given to us in the state of Colorado. And I mean, for the first 2 or 3 years, at least, when I was here in Colorado working at providing dispensaries and my own dispensaries with product, I was doing it 100% alone, 100%. I designed our lab at our very first warehouse, and I had amazing people to help me work in the lab and create the lab for me. But I definitely designed the first lab that was all FRP and all 100% sterile. And it was basically a walk-in freezer like we were talking about. So this first lab, I was working literally 10 to 18-hour days just to try and keep up, but it was a passion, so I loved doing it. I loved going into work every single day and getting into my cold room.
Crushing rocks.
No, I was making amazing medicine every single day. And I mean, I've been doing this for, over 10 years now, but I think as, a legal entity in the state of Colorado, for those first 2 or 3 years, I was doing it 100% by myself, from everything, from the marketing to the taking of photos, although there were obviously help from Paul Token and some of the other photographers. I was doing a lot of that on my own. The processing, the drying, the packaging, the branding, every little thing that goes into doing this. And the other big thing about our company is we didn't bring on any investors. The finances were 100% on me as well. So in reality, for the first 2 years of Essential Extracts actually being a real brand, we broke even, just trying to create a real business here.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of companies here in the industry, have spent quite a lot of time trying to, make up for what they've invested in it. I mean, nobody's that's not massive right now, or not have a huge investorship into them is making a lot of money right now. And even at that, I mean, if you have a huge investor with you, I mean, you're not making money. You just have money to work with. Yeah. So, I mean, this industry is hopefully just starting to get a foothold into things, and people are, able to at least form a foundation for yourselves. Because before, I mean, it's like we came from streets, I mean, doing this before it was probably legal, and being involved in certain things before it was legal, and then switching over to the legal side of things when it came to be, and forming a foundation there was a little bit hard. I mean, we had it eroded away from us multiple times. Certain people eliminated from being involved in it, zoning situations, licensing, I mean, you name it. And it's been hard for dispensaries to get money, build that foundation, stand tall on it, and then carry it through. And the people that have done that, built good foundations that are the big names around, that's awesome to see. And it looks like coming here in the recreational time that you'll have one of the first abilities to be able to step up and form a foundation there, thanks to regulations that are happening. So
Definitely. And, I also want to give a huge shout out because a lot of what I do today and a lot of what, I've learned in the past comes from True School. It's a big promotion and marketing company that I actually work for, from the ground up in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And I was a street teamer. I was on the street passing out flyers myself, inside clubs, hitting cars and stuff outside of clubs. And to be completely honest, I owe so much to Ren Salgado, the owner of True School, for just teaching me so much about not necessarily our cannabis industry, but about marketing myself. As a DJ, and now as a hash maker, it's really helped me. I've taken what I've learned as marketing myself as a DJ and really taken it into this industry of marijuana. And so I just always have to give a big shout out to Ren from True School because he just taught me so much about how to market myself. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I'm here today.
Yeah, both of those things have played into each other, I think, quite a bit. Your DJing and your hash making, because both have been pretty damn successful here in Colorado in the past couple of years. In fact, you're, can we say, you're hosting the Reggae on the Rocks?
Yeah.
You're going to be MCing and MCing Reggae on the Rocks, which is like the longest running festival here in Colorado. Right. Or at least at Red Rocks, it's the longest running festival. I remember when I was a kid hearing about KBCO, talking about Reggae on the Rocks and all the, all this other stuff. Modest Yahoo going to be there this year. A bunch of other people.
Inner Circle, Yellow Man.
It's a celebration.
Revolution.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration of reggae over like 30 years or something like that. I think I can't remember what exactly the event's billed as, but I mean, you're going to be hosting that, which is, I mean, dude, yay, that's awesome, dude.
I'm still pretty in awe about the whole situation, but I'm super, super stoked to be there. Much love and respect to Bill Bass for putting me on. Much love to Adam Dunn and Adam K for helping me get that link.
Bill Bass become a hoodlabster here lately. He's chilling at the lab all the time.
But yeah, enough respect to all those involved. I'm really excited to get on stage for this many people. And,
that's really cool, dude.
Let the people know what I'm all about and let the people know what the music's all about. And we're ready to get that crowd crazy. I'm planning on going on stage with a 2.5-ounce spliff. Nobody's going to touch that thing. That's my spliff, yo.
Make sure it's not 2 pounds and like the Santa Cruz police don't come running at you. I don't know why they'd be in Colorado, but... That 2-pound joint is all I think of now, and that dude yelling at the cop as he's taking it away.
Give me my joint
Did you see that? I think it's Santa Cruz.
Yeah, as you see Santa Cruz.
Actually, maybe I'd have to keep it under 2 ounces to really stay legit here in the state of Colorado.
The cops walked over. They were having a big 420 celebration, grabbed this like 2-pound joint or something from this kid, and then walked off.
He had it on display in his booth.
The kid was like screaming, like, "I'm gonna take you to court!" And the cops were like, "Take it to court." He's just walking off with his big old joint. Everybody's like following the cops, videotaping it. And this guy is screaming at the cop. And they were just like, it's funny. It's crazy. So that's cool. And congratulations on that. A little bit jealous of you on there. So, bastard. No, that's
jealous
very cool.
of myself. I still haven't even felt it yet.
Dude. Red Rocks, dude. Red Rocks.
I still haven't been to a show at Red Rocks.
I almost got to play for President Bush in a band I was in. He's staring at you like you're a jackass.
No, I thought you went to some show with Jamie or something at Red Rocks.
That was down in the Springs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jane's Addiction.
Okay. You have never been to Red Rocks.
Been to Dick's for Fish last year.
Dude.
Red Rocks is fun.
There's nothing like
the thing about Red Rocks is just the vibe. The vibe that the actual, natural Red Rocks create is something else.
Looking off into Denver at night in the distance, I mean, you could just see the city there behind the stage. It's incredible.
And I've been going to Red Rocks, Reggae on the Rocks for almost 10 years now, if not more. Wow. And last year's Reggae on the Rocks was something special. They may not have had the young dance hall vibe that a lot of these younger kids are looking for, but whether it was the bands that were booked or just the vibe there was something special in the air at Reggae on the Rocks last year. And to be honest, the last 10 years it's kind of started to take a little bit of a slide, but last year really pumped it back up. So I'm excited, super stoked for this year because it's going to be big this year.
And you also DJ in First Fridays over at Hood Lab.
Yep. We've got our Higher Heights event at Hood Lab every first Friday now. We've teamed teamed up, joined forces with Adam over at the Hood Lab. And Adam's still doing his First Friday art showcase, from about 4 until 9. And then we kind of pop in with our event starting at 9 p.m. And we throw a little bit more of a dance party.
Tomorrow should be a fantastic time. I mean, it's going to be Claudia Heck. I think that's her last name, is going to be there tomorrow. She's a fantastic artist, tattoo type work, and I mean it's just
Friday, 2 days from now.
Friday.
2 days from now.
I keep wishing tomorrow is Friday because I only work over at the grocery store Monday through Thursday. I got to go move a bunch of dirt.
So today's your...
Wait, what? This grocery store?
Yeah, I'm over at Grow Your Own Monday
right
through
here.
Friday. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is my boy's Quincy. Big
Quincy's
up Quincy.
Exactly.
Big up Grow Your Own. I've actually, I think I started Grow Your Own's Facebook page like 4 or 5 years ago. I've been working with them for a long time.
Oh, dude, I think I remember. You know what? Tell Pink House to come over and build their account. He's like, no.
I don't know. I don't control what Pink House buys.
Yeah.
I do my own. I buy a lot of stuff from Grow Your Own because it's real close to my house too.
This dude, nutrients are expensive as fark. Like they 5 years ago when I really was in the middle of growing and all that. I mean, that's when things sort of started to pick up as far as nutrients for the cannabis side, become more open. Now that Colorado had gotten to the game and it wasn't just California or some of these other states, we made things a little bit more popular. And some dispensaries that have accounts, without giving any names or how much, holy shish kebab, dude. That's like, dude, dispensaries are spending a holy crap load on
Colin Gordon told me
it
should cost $300 to $600 per pound to grow. So
that's why everybody keeps talking. Like, here we go. I'll say it. Russ Belleville, 420 Radio, and other people talk about how, and I don't know, recently what he said his estimation of price of weed or whatever is a pound or whatever. But they talked about it like being, less than $100 or something like that a pound or something. And I'm like, dude,
outdoor. Maybe.
You have not obviously ever grown yourself, because that's just, it's not possible now at this point in time.
Growing.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't have that. Weed costs exactly what you're talking about. Good weed costs in the $200 to $300,
especially if you're growing 100% legally. Actually,
right.
In my case, I grow my 6 plants. I'm right next door to a sheriff, and I mean, I feel like everybody can know that at this point because I've got the sheriff next door. But in reality, I grow 100% legal, and maybe I yield a pound or two per harvest. But it costs me a pretty penny to grow that, organic soil grown pound per 2 per harvest.
What did you say? You said how much per pound? Because I kind of
$300 to $600 per pound.
See, that's not.
I think I'm almost at 600 with just my electricity.
And
that's exactly.
And that is not per one. That's on average.
Those are
in a warehouse, is what Colin is telling me.
The bigger grows you get, usually the quality goes down a little bit.
Usually,
so therefore you're charging less for it.
They're not.
Some places are.
$25 an eighth is.
So are you saying that justified for the ounces should be less than $100 an ounce for weed?
Say that one more time.
Less than $100 an ounce for weed is what you're justifying and saying, which is what other people have said too.
I didn't say anything about that. I just said someone told me on the average.
But that's what it is.
When you grow in a warehouse full, it costs $300 to $600 per pound.
How many ounces in a pound?
So that's less than 100. Yes.
16. So yeah, I mean that's way less than 100.
And if it costs $600 to grow a pound, you sell it
But I don't
$100
go
an
with
ounce, you
that.
make $1,000 profit. What's wrong with that?
I don't buy into that. I think that weed is getting cheaper and cheaper. I just don't think it's cheap as everybody
right now.
claiming that it should be less than $100.
Cheap. It should be more expensive right now.
All right,
coming from all the growers.
Every
and
grower
stuff.
says that.
Yeah, every grower. It should be more. All right, getting back into hash here because that's a big reason why we have you here. And whenever there's a business part of this to put into, where it's been like you've had to meet up with regulations and how maybe there's some intricacies. I mean, just let us know, if there's anything that has been a pain in the ass or that you have suggestions for. It's very, we don't have businessmen in here or businesswomen in here that often as much as I'd like. So I'd like to get your view of things, but we want to talk about hash.
The biggest struggle has been, in comparing Colorado to California. When I grew up in California, I could process, my family's garden, You know, I could process it into solventless wax, drive 20 minutes into San Francisco, go right down to my favorite shop, the Vapor Room, you know, on Haight Street, and go sell them what I produced in my own home. And you know, so that's been the hardest part for me, is because I have, you know, so many connections, you know, in our industry, you know, from friends that grow and things of that nature. In California, I can produce wherever I want and go to sell to any center or any dispensary. In Colorado, I'm really working with the regulations here because I like what they've built for us. You know, not necessarily every single regulation, but I like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not trying to lose that. So in reality, every single regulation I'm trying to, you know, go with to the T. So I haven't smoked enough fucking hash today either. My brain is just...
Dude, it's the snow outside. I woke up today and I was like moving like molasses.
You know, in Colorado, the only places that I'm able to process for right now legally are centers. So I'm not able to get trim from a homie that grows some super fire and process it and distribute it to centers. So in reality, that's the hardest part, is I'm only given an option to run product through centers. So I have to run what I'm given. You know, a lot of people out there are talking bad about some of the products that are on the shelf. In reality, we process what we're given. You know, we make the highest quality product that we can out of the material that we're given.
So was there a point in time, though, where, I mean, there was a point in time where everybody was throwing away their trim and everybody was just like, screw it, you know?
It was pennies.
And now we can't find it.
There was a point in time where there was a certain few people that knew the gold that could be gained from trim, and everybody was like, why do you want this? All right, fine, here. And it was just being given away a lot of the time. And then people started getting wise, and now, I mean,
I got people that are moving here from out of state every single day, and, you know, they're asking me, you know, number one, can I sell them hash? I can't. I only sell my product through centers. And that's another hard thing about telling friends is, I'm sorry, the regulations here in Colorado are different than California. You know, that's the biggest thing. 95% of my friends come from California. You know, so one of the hardest things is telling somebody who I actually love and respect that I can't sell them hash.
Yeah.
You know, they have to go to a center to sell it because I don't have any at my house.
You will soon. Well, I mean, you'll be able to.
Who knows?
Well,
Yeah,
in
who
2015,
knows,
2015, you'll be able to have your own license probably.
Long time away.
You got a year of vertical integration, it looks like.
I just keep charging. Every day is a new day for me, and I just keep going with what I'm given.
Well, here's in 2014 to 2015, they're going to still have vertical integration, the 70-30 rule. And then the 70-30 rule is supposed to go away in 2015, and you're probably going to be able to get your own license to be a hash maker. Have your own business license for essential extracts and do your thing under that and then sell across the state. So that would be fantastic. I would love to see that happen for everybody's sake.
I want to sell to other legal states. You know, in reality, I haven't even touched it yet because I'm fully against having my product cross state lines when it's illegal. But as soon as they make that legal, I really want to get my medicine to as many people as possible. That's the main goal for me.
Chiba Chews is an example of a company that set up shop in 2 different states. So I mean, it's possible, but I mean, they also have a ton of money.
And it's
probably
a huge
more than that.
gray
I think
area,
they're in almost in every legal state. But
it's
if
a
you
huge gray area, and we're working on that expansion right now. But to do it properly with the name that we built for ourselves, I can't go and use my own distribution network. We're going to get called by the feds.
Oh, yeah. You have to go set up shop in that state from ground up. You have to do everything you've done here.
But we can't do that. That's what I'm saying to you. You know, I've talked to 100 attorneys in California and Colorado. If I take what I've built out here as a company with the name that I've created for myself, Essential Extracts, and I go and set up shop in California, the second I open my doors, the second I start producing medicine for more than, you know, a few centers, I'm having the feds come after me.
But why is that? If you're following rules out there and doing what you're doing out there,
California is based on nonprofit. If I take my system here that I've created here and I take it to California and I do everything that I'm doing in California, the feds are going to come after me.
Well, if you're trying to do a profit, that's what I'm saying. But in a perfect world, California would have fixed their nonprofit situation. I've been saying for 5 years now.
Well, everybody in California that's actually going with the nonprofit thing, I mean, in reality, they're doing the same thing here. They're just calling it different things. You know, they're still selling meds, but they call it donating.
There's special math that goes on. I've said this from the beginning of the show that California has got to switch over their nonprofit system, and they would have done it by now if it weren't for a situation of everyone there doesn't want to change the system. They're too afraid to switch over. I mean, the Emerald Triangle area doesn't want to legalize.
And rightfully so, because, you know, still 75% of the U.S.'s cannabis comes from Northern California.
Oh, I forgot.
Even with what we're doing here in Colorado, I mean, it's not legal, but all that weed, all that outdoor stuff is still getting flown around the U.S. and around the world. And in reality,
were you anti-19?
Huh?
Were you anti-19? Anti-Prop 19? Like, did you vote no on Prop 19?
I hadn't voted until last year legally.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I'd had discussions with you about Prop 19 at some point. But no, I think that it can't.
I was scared to vote because I was a drug dealer for, most of my life. Now I'm a business owner, so I can vote now. I feel comfortable voting.
This is awesome. That whole drug dealer thing kind of bites me in the ass, too. Damn felons. Now, California switches over, then it causes a huge domino effect in a lot of other states, that we're worried about profits and this and that. But I think Colorado's making a big footprint, and with recreational,
Colorado's the only place I feel safe.
And I mean, it's gonna. We're gonna take that to everywhere else. All right, let's get to hash because we could talk about rules all day with you if you want to come back, but I don't want to completely below our time that we have here talking about hash. So your process of making hash, I mean, how much has it changed over the past couple of years, and what exactly are you doing that's kind of different than what other people are doing? Because there's there's screen methods, there's the drying methods. That's kind of a big talk right now in the industry is, how your consistency of hash and the drying method, water hash at least.
Yeah. Let's see. What your first question?
Like what? Just that, like your process, kind of like a light overview of the process of the hash making that you do. Like you don't have to give specific details, but it's cold water hash extract, correct?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The first question you asked was anything has changed from the beginning to now, and I think I want to touch on that real quick. Some of the main things that's changed with our process isn't really in our process itself. It's just in the variables. Mm-hmm. And, I think I stressed that like crazy on the first time I've been on your show, maybe even the second time, and I'm going to still stress it today.
I think all hash makers stress the variables.
But, in reality, the newest things for us are the new strains. So when I first started, producing hash, producing solventless hash, producing water hash, producing, ice water extract, we didn't have the CBD strains available to us today, or then that we do have available to us today. Sorry, I do really need a spliff if anybody would like to roll me one, seriously. But
we can't smoke spliffs in here.
All right, well, I might take a break.
Hey, you can feel free.
But seriously, so that's I think one of the biggest changes for us is, we're processing certain things differently. We'll have one of our grows just produce some super crazy oily stuff that's really, it's almost impossible to break down in our normal method of drying and breaking that product down. So we actually have to learn a little bit new methods to breaking down stuff that's so sticky and so putty-like that it won't push through our sieve or it won't cut with the knife. So certain things like that, I think we've been, making advances in over the last 10 years in our process. And that's the cool thing about water hash. Although we've really honed in our process over the last 10 years, there's still so many things to learn because there's new strains coming out every single day, with different crosses coming out of different breeders, different dispensaries giving us different strains that they've been working on, from CBD heavy strains to, 90-day sativas that we extract 100% differently than we'll extract our Bubba Kush or our OG Kush.
That's been one of the most exciting things here lately is to watch how much isolation of strains there's been, the CBDs, and talking about hemp, and trying to get hemp back to where it was.
Hemp hash.
I didn't know hemp was so outbred, or whatever the word I guess you could use, that it was just, hemp is not hemp like we want it right now. It's still going to go through years and years and years. We don't have any hemp.
Canada.
Well, I even think then, a lot of the time, that we've completely screwed hemp up.
Not totally.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm still learning a lot about it. I didn't know that we had screwed hemp that much. I thought there was still hemp available, just like you're talking about, Canada, China.
Screwed weed up then, too, because it bred the CBD out of it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. I'm saying that, too.
But what they were saying to grow hemp properly here in the state of Colorado, right, is we're going to need at least 15 years, of cultivation to get it down, right? Isn't that, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
The seed stock they're talking about starting with, maybe?
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to take breeding and
because I don't think the strength that will be there of the hemp that we need, the fibers, if they just pop one seed crop. I think it has to take a few generations.
Yeah, we've
get that
screwed it up by not having it in place and not having it bred. I don't know. We'll have to get
feminized. There's another thing too.
Watering down the
remembering
gene pool.
things. We had a Jason Love in here. He explained all this to us. We should go back and listen to the Jason Love show here on JDR. I also have a good friend in Adam Dunn who knows quite a bit about it too, so I really have no excuse not to know this stuff.
Or holler at Doss. Doss did a nice little speech at the Hood Lab a few days ago.
Doss.
For the hemp movement. Doss from Hemp Ice Cream.
Doss is a crazy
But he does know a lot. He knows a lot about the hemp movement and stuff.
Dude,
he's been in it for a long time. He's one of the only legal, seed manufacturers or seed processors here in the state of Colorado, I'm pretty sure.
I give that guy mad props. He's been around for a while, and new Jack Herrera is just amazing. Makes hemp ice cream. Everybody likes his hemp ice cream. Sells it at Red Rocks.
I've been eating his hemp ice cream for over 10 years myself.
I like the hemp ice cream.
With, a lot of people are in our industry, I've known Jessica LaRue for forever.
Twirling hippie.
Feel like I've been eating, I don't know if I'm really allowed to say this, but I've been eating her cheesecakes forever.
Yeah.
And I'm lactose intolerant.
Her edibles are probably the best
So
edibles
just
in the
much
state.
respect to all the people that have, really withstood all this regulation and that have still stood by our industry and that are still here for the people and for the patients.
She didn't just get through the regulation. She helped carry a lot of it and bulldoze through a lot of the regulations. So that's mad props to her.
Definitely.
So actually, I mean, with drying methods and let's get to that situation because that's
and
something-
we do things a little bit differently over at the Essential Extracts Lab, especially compared to a lot of the other non-solvent hash makers. A lot of people are stressing different after process methods right now.
How about from the beginning? Do you use RO water or just regular water?
We use RO and or a carbon sediment filter, and we've got a pretty crazy carbon sediment filter right now that's almost.
How dirty does that thing get?
It's almost the same as an RO, except less wastewater, which I like. And, so we'll actually use both systems.
Sure.
But the carbon sediment, the RO, they get pretty gnarly. There's a lot of rust and other weird things
in regular tap water.
In our regular tap water.
Yeah.
So it's definitely extremely important to clean your regular tap water. We haven't used tap water in our process in over 8-9 years.
What about the ice?
Our ice right now is made by a friend of mine's company, and they're actually making it specifically for us. We're working on building into our new facility, which we've actually been building out for almost the last 6 months now. And in our new facility, I already have a huge ice maker in there to be making our own RO ice. So, I've had that in the past. It's been tough for the last 8 months of Essential Extracts. We've kind of been in a temporary facility, and it's a facility that's definitely worked for our process, and it's been working with us. We've been working with the facility, but it's going to be extremely nice to move into a more
What's the exact
proper
address
facility now.
That facility.
I don't give away the address.
Kidding. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't let you give it away.
It's funny. I've gone in to buy quite a bit of ice a couple times for people, and at this one specific place, my second trip in the same day, the guy said, "So you're making hash with this, right?" This is at a big ice warehouse in Denver,
dude,
near surrounded by a lot of grows.
Oh yeah, it might be Polar Ice or something.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. They I've been working with Polar Ice for a long time, and they know what we do. I think the fact that the medical industry has come into play, Polar Ice is actually surviving. I don't know if they were quite surviving before the medical industry, but we are probably one of the biggest providers, or one of the biggest
absolutely
buyers
of ice right now. For sure.
Dude, the ice machines are the ice
I can't wait to be
makers.
making all 100% of our own ice again, for sure. It's gonna be nice. I spend literally upwards of $3,000 on ice per month. This is ice. This is a commodity that we can make for free at our own home. This is water, frozen.
I hear you.
Water, frozen. We understand that, right? $3,000 a month. It's
Takes
crazy.
electricity
it's
to freeze that water.
It's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. So back to drying. Individual drying methods.
Yeah. So, back to the drying board. I like that. Well, yeah, I guess, we're talking a little bit on the first part of our process. Some of what we really strive on or pride ourselves on is gentle agitation. And I really stress this a lot because this is a huge thing that's different from our process compared to a lot of people's, a lot of other people's processes, is we'll actually use different agitating washing machines with different motors in them for different strains and different material. Right. I have a specific washing machine that I use for all my dry trim and sativas and things like that because it's way more gentle than my other washing machine that I use for all my fresh frozen trim and things like Bubba Kush that is a lot harder to pull those trichomes off. And I've mentioned this before, and I always use the example of Blue Dream versus Bubba Kush because the trichomes themselves on those two strains are so different. And no matter who grows them, those trichomes are different, So there's a lot of variation in actual growers and mediums and things like that. But when it comes to strains like Blue Dream and Bubba Kush, no matter who grows it, if it's the real strain, you can see it in the trichomes. So we oftentimes scope all of our trim before we process it. And, when talking about Blue Dream, we've got these long, narrow trichomes with tiny, tiny heads on them for the Blue Dream. And then compared to our Bubba Kush, every single time we've grown Bubba Kush or any time a client's grown Bubba Kush, the trichomes are that much shorter. They're real stocky. They're fatter. And you can see that they're more oily.
Like a Bubba.
Just from the outside compared to the Blue Dream. And that head on the Bubba Kush is 100 times bigger than the Blue Dream. So we process these strains differently. In reality, we use different washing machines for these two different strains, but we also use different micron bags. Huh. So, although we have the essential bag set out there, which is now discontinued and sold out, we still love Mila. We still love Mila's product. So I oftentimes use a combination of the essential screens with the pollinator screens. Depending on what strain we're using, sometimes I'll go from 220 to 190 to 160 to 120. Sometimes I'll just go from 220 straight down to 120. If we're running a big indica like that, I'm not trying to collect all the different grades up in the top level. Or, sorry, if we're running a small sativa is what I meant to say. Sometimes, our highest grade of product is coming in, the 25 and the 38 micron, so we don't need all those levels above the 120 micron.
Okay.
And so I really, really stress that. That's something that we really do differently from a lot of other extraction companies is we take into account a lot of the variables from the material itself. We'll run strains differently. We'll run fresh frozen differently than dry trim, different times, different temperatures, different amount of ice. Everything plays a huge role in this because in reality, we're only trying to get that trichome head off of the plant material without grabbing anything else.
Dry time different for different strains?
Yeah, 100%. For different strains, whether it was dry trim or fresh frozen trim, oftentimes our dry trim, since it doesn't have water weight in it to begin with, and the only water weight we're putting into it is what we're using when we're doing the agitation. Our dry trim runs can sometimes dry between 5 and 7 days, whereas some of our fresh frozen runs won't be ready to see a shelf for 2 weeks.
Damn. That's the oily stuff.
Yeah, super, super oily.
That's one of the things that I most remember from one of the first times that we've explained the hash making that you do is that the drying times and people not. Having wet hash and then that just completely ruining.
It's extremely important because you can process the product perfectly, you can separate it perfectly from micron, yada yada. But if you jar that product too early, you can have a funky mildewy smell within 48 hours.
Yeah.
You can have, instantly a smell of water. You can smell the water coming through the hash, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to retain the terpenoid profile of the original strain. Yeah. And so the packaging and the dry time is extremely important because if you put the product into a jar even a day early, even 6 hours early, you can completely ruin it.
Yeah.
If you wait too long on certain types of product, you can ruin it. There's other products, like with a lot of our fresh frozen, I can leave the product out in open air in our controlled humidity and temp controlled environment for literally 3 months, and there will be no change to that product. But it's weird. If I've trapped any moisture in that product at all and I put it in a jar and I seal the jar, there could be a change in that product. So water has a lot to do with water has a lot to do with the extraction process that we use. Keeping certain amounts of water in the product, removing water as fast as possible. These all play a huge role in the final product that we produce.
Yeah. So are you screen drying it? Are you chopping it up? What's that?
That's so what I want to get into, I guess there's two main factions right now, and there's other methods, of course, but I think the two main things as far as after you've collected the hash, there's the people that are using, actually maybe we'll say three. There's people that are manually chopping up the material to create as much surface area as possible, and that's the idea. As soon as you've collected the hash, I think all of us hash makers right now are under the impression that we want to create surface area to dry. Now, there's some hash makers that are actually under the impression of weight to grate. And these hash makers are actually either freezing that material or just letting it sit out for 12 hours before they actually grate it. And then there's our side of the theory where we are actually trying to remove the water as fast as possible to really retain as many terpenoids as possible to get that smell and that flavor as strong as possible. And we will grate it immediately. But the trick to grading it immediately is really finding the balance of water you've left in the product. If you've left too much water in your product after you've collected it and you go to grate it, it'll grate, but then it'll all recombine into one clump. And that's not what we're looking for, If you've taken too much water out of that product before you grate it, then you can't grate it. It'll just turn into putty, and you won't be able to push it through the sieve.
That's crazy.
So for our process, it's very, very important to find the exact balance of water left in the product before you grate it. For those that are doing the weight to grate, that step isn't quite as important because if you're letting it sit out for 12 hours or freezing it for 12 hours, it's going to grate pretty easily. But, my theory personally, and I'm not doing this to diss anybody because everybody has their own methods and I respect everybody's method individually. But my theory is that we're able to just retain a little bit more of the terpenes in our process as far as grading it immediately. And now when I say grading it, we're actually using a stainless steel kitchen sieve compared to some people that are using a microplane, compared to some people that are using a knife or a credit card. And so I think those are the three main factions. There's the mechanical separation using a knife or a credit card or something like that. Then there's the microplane, and then there's the sieve. And now the two main differences between...
The wait time, probably, right, too.
Yeah, the wait time. Yeah, and I was mentioning that as well. But the two main differences between the sieve and the microplane is a microplane is basically a cheese grater, whereas a sieve is actually basically a basket with a similar texture and consistency as the microplane, but we're actually able to put the product in the sieve, use a stainless steel spoon, and push it through without touching the product. Now, the main difference I've seen personally with the microplane is you actually have to touch that product. Now, you can wear gloves and other things like that, but you actually have to touch that product and grate it through the microplane just as if you were grating cheese. Now, my main issue with the microplane is when you get down to the bottom chunk, you've got that chunk that you're either going to cut your fingers and bleed into your hash, or you're going to leave a chunk, that's not completely broken down. And so that's my main reason for going with the sieve. And Mila taught me about the sieve, about 10 years ago or longer ago.
It's basically just a spaghetti strainer, essentially, right?
It's very similar, and we have actually 3 or 4 different types of sieves with different hole sizes that create different textures of our product. But, in reality, it's a spaghetti strainer, but you just want to make sure it's stainless steel because you don't want to be touching stainless steel to anything that's not stainless steel or you can get erosion. But in reality, that's the main difference that I've seen is our product looks a little bit more consistent as far as, it's being broken up compared to the microplane, which you have a few kind of larger chunks in there. And I guess that's the main concern for me and why I haven't used a microplane. Also for the fact that I don't want to cut my fingers, and I've always hated grating cheese, so it's not what I'm trying to do. For me, the sieve is just a lot easier. We're able to get a little bit more of a consistent product, and that's for us. Like I was mentioning, everybody has their own, specific process, and I respect all processes. This is our, personal process that we have chosen to use, and it works out best for us.
Sweet. That's definitely cool.
And so that's, as far as the breaking down, that's just the, conversation as far as getting surface area. And that's so that we can retain terpenoids, flavonoids, and that's so that it can dry evenly. If you don't break down the product like that, you're going to have a lot more of a darker product. In California, most of the people that I was making hash with, over 10 years ago weren't sieving the product, weren't microplaning it, weren't breaking it down like that, and that's kind of why they got that black gooey texture, because the water was actually getting soaked in from their environment. Not only was there water already in the product, but California is a lot more humid, so the water gets sucked into that product, and if it doesn't dry immediately, all the water and everything else from the atmosphere is going to oxidize that product and make it black and gooey.
Yeah.
And you will never be able to fully remove all the product if you weren't able to remove it immediately.
Yeah.
And that's, another one of the things that we strive on as far as our process is we're removing the water immediately, so we're able to retain, not only the terpenoids but the translucent appearance that, is very similar to your BHO and things of that nature, and that's what we've been trying to compete with, and that's why we've created the process. How we've created it is we wanted to get away from that black, gooey, mildewy smelling product.
Yeah, I don't like that hash.
So
I've made hash like that before. It's not good.
Creating surface area is key for that aspect, getting rid of that darker color. And then from there, it's all about drying. You can create that surface area as much as you want, but if you're drying in an environment that's over 75 degrees, all of the water, all the moisture from your environment, especially if you're drying in an environment that's over 75 degrees and humid, all the moisture from your environment is going to be drawn into that hash. And although you've completely sieved it or microplaned it or whatever to separate it and create surface area, you now are dealing with the other variable of temperature and humidity, and that will ruin your product as well.
So say it's like snowing outside like it is today. I mean, some people would say, BHO makers would say, bad to run it because moisture in the air. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal: like, it's drier when it snows.
Not today. It's the wet snowball type shit today.
Well, I mean, usually the humidity is pretty damn low when it snows because all it's pulled out of the air. The winter is dry as fuck. So I started thinking about that yesterday when we were going to have
But it's also like, most people are blasting outside. So if you're blasting outside while it's snowing, you'll actually get water in your product and thus ruining it.
But mostly, thinking about, if you have the ability to be separated from, the weather but still have an area outside, the moisture in the air is still pulled, into what you're doing. So definitely the less moisture, the better. I was just thinking, man, maybe, the winter time during dry, be a good time to run hash.
Outside?
But BHO and water hash are two completely
You ever make hash outside?
different things.
Oh, yeah. I grew up in Northern California. I learned to make hash outside on the farm.
Nice.
With the plants being chopped down, I'm in the same area, making dirt, literally. It was kind of scary, where I first started making hash compared to, the sterile environment that we make hash in today. What I was doing back in the day, on the farms in Northern California is not sterile. It's not really medicine, as far as what we're making today.
Yeah.
It's THC, it's got cannabinoids, it's potent, etc. But the cleanliness around it,
standard,
I'm all about the cleanliness, and the product that we're making today is 100% better. It looks way better than the product that we were making outside back in the day because we weren't able to control all the variables that we're able to control today indoors.
Do you know Frenchie?
Yeah, I love the dude.
I got to sit in with Frenchie at the Oil Slick booth. He was sitting down giving like 3 or 4 people a spiel about hash, dude. And I had a hard time
taking. Bring any of my pressed hash in.
I had a hard time taking everything he was saying in because there was just so much going on. But then at the end, he whipped out this hash, and we smoked it on a nail, and it was like one of the first times in a long time that I had smoked something that completely melted away. I was like, just a kid in a candy shop grinning.
What kind of hash?
Best hash I smoked, water hash.
And it was pressed, correct?
I'm pretty sure it was
all
pressed.
about pressed hash.
Yeah, and it was complete bubble melted off. I was like,
one of the rare things about Frenchie is, throughout all of my years of making hash, I've never pressed the high grade stuff.
Really?
I've always just pressed the low grade stuff. We've kept, I guess, that's a lie. We've done some hand pressing of the high grade stuff, but to be honest, when I was pressing a lot more of the high grade stuff was over 10 years ago when I didn't know quite as much as I know today.
Yeah.
And I think Frenchie's doing an amazing thing because he's bringing in a lot more old school methodology, old school styles of hash, and he's showing people that pressed hash can be just as good as granulated form, which is funny because for all the years that I've been trying, and Derek will talk to you about this as well, is, Derek and myself, we were pressing hash back in the day before this, big boom started. When I started making the granular form, it caught on. It gained popularity, and people didn't want the pressed hash anymore in Colorado, and Derek was stoked. Derek was like, fuck yeah, I don't have to press hash anymore. That takes away all kinds of my lab time. Now I can just keep it granular because Nikka T's, built this hype, and he tells that to me all the time.
Press hash, he made a tange a couple times into that. He's just been like...
I love it. So
nice
that's that's what I'm saying. I love pressed hash, and I'm stoked that there's a lot of people like Frenchie, like Canna Hash, like
I hear Frenchie's gonna
Banff,
opening
like a lot
up
of other
shop
people.
Here. Like he's
Huh.
I
hadn't heard that yet. That's funny because me and
I'm-
him have been communicating a lot lately. I've been working with somebody else out
I may
here
have heard
that
wrong.
just moved out here from LA himself, who makes amazing pressed hash. We're hoping to bring him into some centers very, very shortly here. We're just doing a little bit of R&D right now just to make sure. And
Cool.
but that's one of the new things is getting a variety of hash on the shelf, a variety for the different patients. From some of the older clientele that is used to seeing pressed hash and that's what they want. To some of this newer clientele that wants the dabbable hash and only the dabbable hash. And we're really, especially at Essential Extracts, trying to provide everything for people.
that's what I'm into. Is I'm into the dabbable waters.
I personally,
and dabble everything.
what I smoke is water hash, and I don't actually dab too much. I smoke spliffs. And
so is it
to
offensive
me,
to say to dab your product?
No, I want people to dab it.
All right,
You know,
yeah,
if
I want
people
to be able to
if
dab
people are
all
dabbing
hash.
it, I'm stoked.
I want to dab all hash. Like I don't necessarily want to put my hash on top of a bowl.
I'm
anymore.
just stoked
I want
to
hit
be-
it off a nail.
To be pushing more and more water hash products, whether it's pressed, whether it's granulated,
Yeah.
even dry sieve, just any non-solvent process is what I prefer to smoke. And with, bringing more of this to market, the more I get to see, the more I get to smoke. I've been loving life these last 2 weeks. In fact, for the last 5-6 years of my life, I haven't been smoking too much hash. I've maybe smoked a little bit of hash at night, but for these last 2 weeks, I've been smoking hash. And I
That's
think a
what you've
lot
been
of it has to do
telling
with
me.
people like Frenchie, people like Canna Hash, people that have been bringing more of this old school style hash to market, which is rad because it just helps my business overall.
Yeah, that's what you've mentioned. I didn't smoke that much in the past couple of months either. It's been kind of weird, and this is the first time I think I've seen you with your dreads down too, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen you with your dreads down. It's interesting.
I had to rock the new Extract Artist hat, yo.
Oh, is that the new EA hat? Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, definitely. I like it, dude. I heard a rumor that you may would be cutting your hair off, your dreads off. Is that true, or is that nah?
Yeah, yes.
That blew me away. I was
my scalp.
You have
does
to
not
weigh
like
them
me
if
right
you cut them
now.
off.
It's getting to a point of a health issue.
Okay.
I've had my dreads for over 12 years now, and I've never had any issues. I've slept on them, I've stepped on them. They've been with me. I've never had an itchy scalp. I've never had a dry scalp. I've never had an oily scalp. But literally in the last 6 months, the weight from my dreads is just so much on my scalp.
It's so
that
dry
they're
here.
pulling them out. Literally, I found another dread on the floor this morning.
Dude.
They're just coming out at this point because they're so heavy.
My scalp is I got
But that's not to say,
millimeter hair. My
if
scalp
I
itches.
start over, if I cut my locks, maybe around August 15th, mid-August, it's not to say that they're not going to grow back. It's hair. Hopefully I can get my scalp healthy again and grow back the locks. I love my antennas to the universe, my roots to the ground.
Dude, I heard that and I was like,
My spirituality
somebody's
locks.
making that up.
See, you didn't believe it.
There's other people that have said that they've seen me at the barbershop getting my locks cut off like dread, but
Yeah.
those are just friendly rumors that people love to
Yeah,
start
that was-
about me.
that-
I mean, I think since the beginning
Dread
I've
was
gotten
checking
on
you
John
in
Doe
everywhere.
Radio. There have been funny rumors about me. From I think one of the first rumors that we brought up on John Doe was that I stuffed my hat with OG Kush Nugs. We might have brought one of those up on John Doe Radio because
my God.
for I don't know 7-8 years I didn't expose my hair at all. The fact that you guys are seeing it now is because
I didn't see your hair.
I got a great question. Who did you end up giving the Bieber tickets to?
What?
I don't think
You
Tim
had
knows about
Bieber
it.
tickets? Are you kidding me?
No. I didn't have any Bieber tickets.
I got in a friend's car.
Somebody was extremely smart and funny, and I definitely give them credit, although it fucked up my phone and fucked up my business.
You don't
life
know
for a
this
good
one,
whole
Tim, do
day.
you?
I don't know what's going on.
Listen. This is a good story.
Every once in a while I post my business line online because it's my business line, and I mean, that's kind of the nice thing about having a business line, right? You don't have to post your own personal fucking number. But, I had just got 4 pallets of butane in, or Pink House had just gotten it in, and I was broke from the cup, and I wanted to start moving out some of the butane. And so I threw up a post on Facebook instantly from my phone, as soon as the pallets came in, not even thinking or doing anything, hey, the butane's in, because I had maybe 50 to 100 calls that, last 2 weeks before this of everybody wanting it, because, butane's kind of scarce in Colorado right now. So I put a real quick post online that was basically holler at me, butane's in. here's my cell, or here's my number. And somebody was smart enough to take that number and throw it up on Craigslist saying that I had free Justin Bieber tickets as long as you texted this number, which was my number, something about I love Bieber, make my dreams come true, or something like that. And I literally got like fucking 800 text messages in a matter of 2 hours.
Shut his phone down.
Thank you, whoever did that.
Oh my God.
I give you props. I'm giving you props. It was a good one.
That leads up to another question everyone was asking.
That's innocent. That's innocent.
Innocent enough. It still definitely messed up my whole day that day.
That's spice for life.
The haters bring up another point. Why does the king of solventless sell butane? Why does the king of solventless sell butane?
Dude, by the way,
that's an amazing question.
The chat room is a troll fest.
There's
today,
a fucking
by the
chat
way.
room?
Yeah,
Holler at me.
Yo,
why don't you text me, actually? You got my fucking number.
20
Talk shit to myself. You heard?
Like 20 people in there, it's like what is
I
it?
wish I could see this chat room, but either way, you
don't want to see it.
That's actually a really good question.
The
reason that we it's not Essential Extracts that sells butane. It's myself. It's Nikka T. I sell butane, and the reason that I did it is because I started seeing so many people going for the cheapest thing that they could get their hands on. Even good friends of mine that are now finally not using it. But there were so many people using things like Power 5 and other Lucien and other really, really poor quality canned butanes on the market. And no, I don't like Power 5. Every single time I smell or taste Power 5, I smell and taste like almost
wet
a Vaseline.
I taste something weird too.
It's a lubricant. There's some type of lubricant that they're using in it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Whatever it is. And so, in reality, not everybody has the money or the facility to build an enclosed unit to run Entane. In fact, I think there's literally only maybe 1 or 2 companies in the state of Colorado that are using Entane right now. Everybody else is using CAN gas. And so, in reality, I promote Entane more than anything else, but the easiest thing for people to get a hold of is CAN gas, and what every backyard, butane blaster is doing, and 90% of our industry still here in Colorado that's making tane for our patients is using canned butane. And I wanted to make sure that if this, canned butane thing was on the market, I wanted to be selling something that I believed in personally, that was quality myself,
I like
and
Newport.
when I first started blasting myself, I made BHO before a lot of these people made BHO. Before I myself started making, water hash on a commercial scale, I used a company called Calibri out of the UK.
Sure.
And when I first started making BHO, people told me to stay away from everything else but Calibri. And at this time, Vector wasn't on the market. But there were things like Lucien
now
and
nobody does
Bronson and other things
Lucien,
like that.
I've been saying.
But let me continue.
People say it's the same as Newport.
Back in the day, it definitely wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know what the regulations are now. I know that Lucien's coming from Korea and Newport comes from the UK. So the regulations.
I thought they're both UK,
different.
but anyways, go on.
Okay, maybe you're correct. But either way, as far as when I started doing this 10 years ago, the best thing on the market was Calibri. And the reason that Calibri was better than anything else on the market, as far as what I was finding in my research, is that Calibri was coming from the UK and everything else was coming from Korea. The regulations in Korea weren't as strict as the regulations in the UK. Thus, the UK was creating a higher quality product as far as butane is concerned.
Calibri was a lighter company. They just recently stopped making lighters
high-end
a few years ago.
And when I first started, processing with Calibri and found that it was from the UK, etc. That was what I liked as far as the quality of the product that I was producing. A lot of things have changed in the last 10 years. When I started researching again, a few years ago, I noticed that it was extremely difficult to find Calibri here in the U.S. and or to order it from the UK to get it here to the U.S. We weren't able to get any quantities of it. The only places that I found with it were high-end cigar shops. And in reality, they only sold the small cans, not the large cans, which is another thing to get into. I actually have a theory as far as the small cans actually attributing to the quality because the pressure's less. So it's pushing the butane through less quickly. So I actually like the small cans compared to large ones. Either way. When we started researching it, a lot of people were using Vector and Power 5 at the time. And Power 5 was the one thing that I wanted to, get off the market. So I started trying to get Calibri out here. I noticed real quickly that it was very difficult to get Calibri out here, and the easiest product to get out here was going to be Newport. And I found that Newport actually came from the same factory as Calibri, so I trusted it. And then as far as a lot of the, BHO blasters in Southern California that were, making a good name for themselves, like people like Trim Lithic and some of the other cats that were some of the first cats to start using Newport, the color and the clarity in the product, I just really liked. Compared to other
Lighter.
canned gases. Yeah, it was just lighter in general. And so, as far as all the variables that we've gone through and all the marketing, I feel myself that the most high quality canned gas on the market is Newport. And there's a lot of people that are going to argue, oh, haven't you seen Herbal Synergy's new tests and stuff like that? To be completely honest, and this is no disrespect to Charlie, but these residual butane tests and stuff like that are so new to us. I don't think that the labs even know exactly what peaks they're reading. So, just for an example, the only company that entered an N-butane product in the Cannabis Cup this year got disqualified for having too much residual in their product. But in reality, I don't think it was too much residual. I think the N-butane actually just peaks higher than any of the other gases because it's N-butane, and that's just where its peak is at. And so this is, some of the stuff that we're getting into now is that some of the labs are disqualifying.
Is that a buddy up in Boulder?
Yeah, some of the cleanest fucking products on the market because the peak is high on the chart. And what's that peak actually mean? That there's more N-butane compared to propane? That's actually, to me, a good thing, not necessarily,
butane's inert
if
to the
propane
human
is
body.
clear, or if propane is clean, I love propane too because it actually purges faster than butane.
And propane, maybe?
Yeah, there's certain properties to propane that are good as well.
I saw
That's
a
actually
propane
one of
extract for the
reasons
first
that
time at the Cup.
Newport is higher quality than some of the other things because although it has a higher percentage of propane than, say, Vector, the quality of propane and the quality of butane to me is actually higher grade.
ISO or N.
Yeah, so
different.
And a lot of this is chemistry that I'm not extremely knowledgeable on, so I'm not going to put my all into it. But basically, my reason for selling butane is because I wanted higher quality butane on the market. At the time when I started getting Newport out here, nobody else could get Newport in Colorado except for Multiline, which was charging an arm and a leg for it. I wanted to beat their price, and I wanted to get a more quality, more reasonably priced butane on the market. And so, I guess you can hate essential extracts all you want. We still produce everything in our facility, in our lab, 100% non-solvently.
Part of me wishes you would get into the solvent
We're really
game.
just, we're trying to create or help create quality in our market. That's our reason for that.
Are you ever going to get into the solvent game?
Yeah, there's definitely thought of it. There's thought of even teaming up with Pink House, and doing some things there. There's lots of discussions right now, and I'm not even going to really touch too much on it right now. Until
if I was going to,
sounds like some serious shit.
If I was going to pick a group to work with, though, Stephen Lewis, Derek Cummings.
No one's asking you.
Select Nikka T.
No one's asking you. Don't worry. You don't have to pick.
Dude. That whole, I know no one is asking me. Thank you for pointing that out, smart ass.
Well, if I point it out, maybe someone will.
Maybe eventually.
So go after yourself.
Someday.
Yes.
Dude, it would honestly, to work in a lab like that, with that talent in there and those people that have knowledge like that, just to be able to bounce it off of each other. That's pretty damn incredible. A lot of people are working alone right now, and to have 4 or 5 people get together that know what the hell they're doing right now and start bouncing shit off of each other, that's nuts, dude. I want that in my company. Elliot has done a great job of grabbing you guys, so dude. You cannot hate on that, period. All right,
I don't.
Nothing to hate on. I'm not saying that. There's a few situations in this state that because they're successful are hated on. River Rock being one of them, which we don't talk about quite a bit. Essential extracts and Pink House's size sometimes. It's like, oh, what's that? But Pink House, especially, in my opinion, doing things very, very well. So they're now a sponsor. They've been a sponsor before. He's solidified his awesomeness.
Stop kissing Elliot's ass,
dude. How can you not when the dude's standing on top of like containers, dressed as the Pope with a torch in his hand, and he has more balls.
Thanks for opening a dispensary, Elliot.
He has more
That's
balls
all.
than anybody I know when it comes to toking Earl, putting his name out there.
Okay.
I respect that company a ton.
I'm glad he has a company. I like to go there and go.
Thank you for pointing out that I was kissing his ass.
I
So what?
I hated it. I didn't want you to embarrass yourself.
I'm not embarrassed. No, I have no problem with gushing over a product that I love and enjoy.
What were you saying, Nick?
I don't know. Hey, chat room, you got any more shit to talk? Because I want it.
Let's
I want it.
see.
Give it to me. I'm fucking ready.
One of the questions earlier was how often do you take off your impellers and clean them?
Our what?
your impellers and your washing machines?
We switch out our washing machines literally once every 3 weeks to a month. But like I said, we have 5-6 different washing machines in our lab.
Mm-hmm.
We sterilize them after every single run. We take them apart every single run and sterilize them, and then on top of that, we actually we'll sell used washing machines after 3 weeks to a month and a half, and just put in a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
I see. We are done with the time on the show, but if there's any other...
That was about it. I mean, I think I got them in there as they came. And
well, congratulations on your success, Nick, and being able
for real,
to do
though,
everything you've done.
I'm a real person. I really want to stress this. And
I think you're a robot.
Mike said that like if I give people this sensitivity about me, it gives them more of a chance to talk shit. But go for it. To be honest,
seriously, if you tell anyone what your weakness is, someone's going to go after it.
It's not a weakness to me. It's not a weakness to me.
Well,
I'm
if
a
you're
real
sensitive
person.
guy,
I do that every day.
Someone can use words to take you down.
It's powerful because I
do that every day
properly. But yes, I'm a sensitive person. I'm a real human being.
Mm-hmm.
So although you may some people may see us as rock stars now and stuff, this is a real business. We've come up from the bottom. We broke even for the first 2 years. I'm a real person. I'm a real human being. I've got feelings. If you have something to say about me or my company, please just say it to me. You don't have to put me on public blast. And that's one of the big issues, that I've been coming into, is because people think I'm some kind of rock star.
Well, see,
but in
forget
reality,
about that shiz.
I'm a real person, and I should.
Forget about
Mike
that
has
shiz,
brought that
man.
to my attention. I should fully just ignore it. But at the same time, I'm the type of person I'm a personable person. I like to talk to the people. I want to get in there. That's what I'm all about, is teaching individual people. Because without me teaching individual people, I could throw a fucking YouTube video up with a how-to step, but nobody's really going to get it. The reason that I get into forums and talk to individual people and ask individual questions is because I care about our industry and I care about individual people. I'm out there on the front lines for myself, but I'm also out there on the front lines for you guys. I'm out there doing R&D so that we can put amazing medicine and amazing recreational products into shops as soon as that goes legal as well. This is something that's a passion for me. I do this out of the love of it. I do this for the people. I do this for, making an amazing product because I myself enjoy smoking it. So, next time you guys think to, want to slander me or something online, come at me. Tell me what you think. I want to know. I want to know.
But see, there's
Make
10
for a
million,
more
there's 10
interesting
times,
argument.
There's 10
instead of
times
just
more people that
one-sided.
are like enjoying your product than it all. And
I'm
what
sure,
you're talking
and I
about,
shouldn't even
what you're
bring the
yeah.
negativity in because
Don't
it makes
even
me
bring
look
it.
bad. I fully agree with that.
Well,
I'm a positive person.
It makes it seem like that you have more beef than what you do, and you don't. You don't.
I think I'm just sensitive, so I bring it up. But
I
I'm a
am
positive
too.
person. I love what I do every single day of my life.
As soon as I
got
stopped,
mad love for my family. I got mad love for my extractors. Mad love for Pig House, who
check
houses
this out.
me right now.
As soon as I stopped being as sensitive as I was, because let's just everybody that I was a pretty damn sensitive person. I bitch about everything, and not saying you bitch about everything or
Tim
whatever.
does.
I did used
We
to
know.
bitch about every single last
You
thing.
toned
whine
it
about
down.
every single
It's
thing.
okay.
And I've toned it
It's
down
just
quite a
Tim.
bit here lately, and quit giving a damn so much, and let things roll off my back a little bit more. Me getting back on John Doe Radio after
Relate.
everything I went through, man. I had to be ready for some missiles coming at me here or there. Luckily.
I haven't even
People
fired mine yet.
don't, and please see that's part of the reason why we brought you here is so that you could toss them out if you open the air here.
I'm professional, yo.
I think we had a great, fantastic interview, and if there was any issues between us, I definitely hope
let
that
you
we can get those out of the way and be cool now, because I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of the work that you've done. I'm proud of a lot of people, not just kissing your ass like this bastard over here sit here and says. I've watched you build your company from the start. We started John Doe Radio around the same time that you guys started doing your thing as a business, and to watch that grow, to see what Derek's gone through, the heartache and the trouble, and be right there with him watching it. I mean, dude, I respect that. I have massive respect for people that have been able to pull this off, and the only thing is just want to be right there with you guys, right next to it,
Let Tim have some of the glory.
I'm glad you got JDR back up and running.
Exactly,
So we can do this
and that's
together.
why we're doing this. So congratulations, dude. Select a Nikka T with Essential Extracts, one of the premier hash makers in the world today. If people want to find out more about you, you got a website?
Yep, you can check out essentialextracts.co. So that's www.essentialextracts.co, as in Colorado. You can also check out our Instagram page. Instagram is Nikka_T. Our Twitter is Extract Artist. I believe it's all one word, Extract Artist. You can also check out the Extract Artist group page on Facebook. It's always gaining in popularity. It's one of my main avenues that I love to teach people in.
It's been around for a while.
It's pretty personal for me. Yeah, it's one of the biggest hash groups on Facebook, one of the very first hash groups
That
on
shit
Facebook.
was crazy at first, man. It was
and now, yeah, we're also, branding Extract Artists for all the hash makers, because I want all the hash makers to represent being an extract artist. Also, I just want to say thank you for having me on today.
No problem, man.
I really appreciate you guys.
Thank Bike.
Thank
Bike. He asked you to come on.
Thanks for having me on the show, and thank you to all the listeners. I appreciate all the support. I'll try not to be as negative, because most all my fans love what we do, and we appreciate the support, because without the support, we can't do it. In reality, we're all about quality, and without the support, we wouldn't be competing with BHO.
And we bring out the familyness.
We've got a lot less of a yield than BHO. We charge less money from the patient, so as a dispensary, most dispensaries wouldn't go with us if it wasn't for your support. So we appreciate the support of the patients, the support of the people that enjoy our medicine, the support of the people that just enjoy smoking hash. So thank you.
Yeah, another thing about the JDR that I'd like, and I have enjoyed here, is that we've got to meet a lot of people that are in the industry, So sometimes there is laundry, and we are a family, 100%. This whole industry that in Colorado for sure is one of the closest knit, quote unquote, families. Some hate each other, some love each other, but we're all connected in some way or another. The success of one is connected to the success of the other, and we are a family. So that I do enjoy that.
So I keep trying to tell. Give me 30 seconds. I keep trying to tell Tim this, and he doesn't believe me. Maybe someone else agrees. He will. Tim's always bitching and crying. I want to be in the industry. And I keep telling him he is.
I am in the industry.
Now you're in it twice. You work at a gross shop.
I would like to be making hash. You're
a felon, so that's not going to happen legally. You made your own friggin'
It will happen legally.
You made your own friggin' niche in the industry, dude. No one.
And you did make it before a lot of other people, bro. You were the first fucking cannabis radio show that I tuned into.
You're your own boss. You talk about weed. That's fucking industry, dude.
Don't say that because I'm a felon, I'm never going to be able to make hash.
Okay. Well, I did just to shut you up, and it worked, so shut up. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Tim. I got to run.
Big time here on the John Doe Radio Show. It's good times. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Until we meet again, I'm John Doe. Peace.
The John Doe Radio Show is produced by Charlie Stash Entertainment. The John Doe Radio Show programming is not limited, but includes information on agriculture subjects and is an informational and entertainment purposes only. We specifically include responsible marijuana reform.
Listening to anyone but your mother is just plain stupid.
We accept no responsibility for your actions or misrepresentations, and we do not fully endorse the use of illegal drugs. You are ultimately responsible for yourself.
Live.